All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Clover Street Podcast. We're so glad everyone's here today. And again, my special guest, maybe even a pseudo co-host. We're testing the waters. We're seeing how a few episodes with just us hosting go. But say hello, Greg. Good to see you there, bud.
Hey, Chris. Good to see you. Good to be back.
Always happy when Greg's here.
Hey, everybody.
All right, now we were talking earlier about pickleball, and you said that is now. You said there are pickleball courts where they're specifically made and designed just for pickleball?
I don't know if they do solely just the application of pickleball, by itself. I want to say that they just take a pre-existing tennis setup and then they add the additional lines. Yeah.
So it's a multi-purpose court. You can use it for tennis or pickleball.
Yeah, but it seems as though more and more people are just kind of migrating over to pickleball. Yeah,
really?
it's actually less chasing. You're less because I'm not really playing a lot of tennis in my I don't have a lot of experience playing tennis, but whenever I'm playing against somebody, you're always trying to go that tour level tennis, overhand, super hard serve and everything like that. And if you don't handle it, then guess what? You're running to the fence to chase it.
Yeah.
And you've got a limited amount of balls and stuff.
Now, does the pickleball look like a tennis ball? Is it fuzzy?
It looks like it's a plastic ball and it looks like it's a wiffle ball.
Really?
It's like a yellow ball just with a whole bunch of holes.
Oh, I'm going to have to look
and
that up.
What it's going to... You're used to the way that it spins a certain way whenever you're playing table tennis, or if you're playing tennis, or if you're playing racquetball. You kind of have to get acclimated to it if you are learning and starting to play more pickleball, because you're playing it to have more bounce off of the ground, and you've got your paddle where you think it ought to go, and then it just doesn't quite get up as high as you think it does. So it takes some learning. And then some people will like to incorporate more spin. I just want to try to hit it and put it where the person can't get to it all that easy. And you can either play it without it bouncing, or you can play it with it bouncing. And there's like a certain area that you're told you're not allowed to go into. I mentioned the kitchen earlier, so I'm still. And whenever you're hearing them talk about the scoring and everything like that, if you're new to it, you'll go, wait, what is this? Why are you saying 3 different numbers? So there's 2 different servers, and each you got server number 1 on the right. Server number 2 is whenever server number 1 gets done. So each point you switch. So if you serve and you get a point, you switch and you keep going until you don't get the win that point, and then your number 2, they serve out until they're finished before it goes over to the other team.
Now, do they offer a course at any of the major universities, Harvard, Yale, on how to play pickleball?
Probably, yeah.
Because it sounds a little complicated.
There is. Yeah, it's.
I got the basics of tennis back in my younger high school days. I used to play that a little bit just for fun. But I'll never forget a friend of mine. Me and a friend of mine went to the courts over at CNU. I think it might have even been before it was a university. It was just
back
CNC. And we played tennis, and we had an amazing game. And we played by all the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, all the rules. And we just we were trying to break this tie. And, and it's like he would score a point, then I would score a point, and then back and forth. It was the longest, most invigorating, exciting game.
Yeah. But you're also, at the same time, you're kind of like, you're getting, it's taxing. And so you're kind of getting frustrated because no one can really break the deadlock. Right. Same thing occurred yesterday. I'm playing with my in-laws and then my son. And it's just, Monday we played, and it's sweltering. It's just
yesterday.
Yesterday I played golf with my son.
I saw a video of that.
I played golf with him. It started out, the first hole was a little misty, and then we finished the first hole, and it was just an absolute deluge. And everybody was in the clubhouse just like, I ain't going out there.
Yeah.
A little bit of rain's not going to bother me. If it's just constant, flooding conditions, I'm not going to go out there. But I knew that it was going to pass through, and it did, and it was nobody was on the course. It was great.
You saw Who was it? Chevy Chase. He was out there in the rain.
No.
No problem.
Yeah.
You got the game goes on.
Every once in a while, I'll see some like a viral video of guys that are playing in the absolute worst conditions, and they're putting the ball, and they have to smash it, and you see a rooster tail after the ball rolls because there's so much standing water. And it's like, I'm not that hardcore.
Do you do any other sports besides those on a regular basis? You don't have a paddle board, do you?
I have a ping pong table, table tennis set up at my garage. Of course, the golf. I started to play the pickleball. We've got tennis rackets and all that stuff. I've got stuff from whenever the boys were still playing baseball. So there's a couple of things. I'm looking at my wife like, we're going to need to get rid of this stuff because it's never used.
Right.
Well, I want to sell it. Yeah, I got that, but you constantly telling me if you guys just clean the garage.
Your wife sounds a lot like my wife. I think that it's the similar kind of sound.
I don't sound like that. Yeah, well, it's what my brain hears.
Anyway, that's good. I mean, I guess we really need to clean out our garage. I mean, and the hassle of selling just a few particular items is just, I might let my wife handle that, but then you end up with the problem of just hanging on to this stuff until it's sold. It's like, wasn't the whole point of us cleaning the garage to get rid of this stuff?
Yeah.
Now you have to hang on to it for weeks or months or ever.
That's why I'm a big proponent of whenever you have a garage sale. But if it's something that actually has legitimate amounts of value,
right?
Yeah, then that's a little bit more involved. I recently, with my mom, kind of downsizing, sort of. She left her, basically the house where I moved in. I was raised in.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of old vinyl records, a bunch.
Really?
And so I have quite a few of them, and many of them are not going to have just people chomping at the bit to try to get to them because there's a lot of classical stuff and
classical music.
Yeah, it's like
Is there any rock in there?
Somewhat. I've got some. There's a little bit. There's some Beatles. I'm trying to think who else.
These are probably original pressings, yeah?
I don't know if they were, but I know that there's...
Do you have a turntable?
No, I don't.
Oh, really?
No.
I have 2 turntables and several microphones.
Oh, hey, where it's at.
Man, you should hang on to those, though, for real.
Yeah. I mean,
at least you pick through.
I was going to pick the ones that I thought might, get a little bit more of an interest, but then... I don't know because there's an app that I downloaded that.
What's it called?
It's called Discogs.
Yep, Discogs.
Discogs.
Yeah,
Discogs.
I have that too.
I put it on there, and I'm trying.
You put it on there to sell?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just use it to sort of keep an organized library of what music I have. That way, if I go out to a thrift store or whatever, I can just pull up Discogs. Oh, I already have that one.
Yeah.
I forget. I only have about 100 albums, but I forget which ones I have, and if I see one, I've accidentally bought the same album before.
I have at least 100. I'd be willing to guess I've got 200, maybe 250.
Okay.
And again, no turntable or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a DJ, so I sort of have to have a turntable or 2.
I've got to have that, but no contemporary stuff, and it's just all stuff that either my dad's parents had, and then if there was something that my mom would, I know that there's like Barry Manilow, some Barbara Streisand.
Yeah, you can still find that stuff for $1 at a thrift store.
Yeah, so
Burt Bacharach.
Yeah,
and Herb Albert.
Mamas and the Papas.
That's good stuff.
There's a couple of other, I'm trying to think of the I want to say like Oklahoma. It's it looks like a box set.
Yep, I know exactly. I've seen those at thrift stores.
Holy cow! And then occasionally I'll look at it and try to because I'm trying to see if the like whenever you're looking at a CD, I'm looking to see if there's any kind of gouges or scratches, and I'm trying to look to see, looking at it objectively. Yes, I don't know how good, and I would rate myself as honestly as I could. Like, is this mint condition?
Oh,
No.
You said CD?
No, I'm saying whenever I'm looking at the media, I was looking at the media on the vinyl.
Okay.
To check to see if there was any kind of, I'm trying to see how much value that I could, command for this. Instead of just going, yeah, it's worth a lot of money. No.
I have an uncle who's a audiophile. I almost said pedophile.
He's in defeat.
He's a audiophile. He is a hardcore collector of vinyl.
Okay.
And he would be able to look through your collection like dudes look through baseball cards. Good, excellent.
Yeah.
He'd hold each one up, but he has thousands. I would say even tens of thousands of vinyl records. They're climate controlled. He stores them properly. He has them alphabetized. This
wasn't the case.
Right.
These were in the garage. So there are some that the art, the cover.
Yes.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I looked at the actual disc itself because, if you're looking for the total, like I want the art and the cover pristine, and I want it to sound good whenever I put it on, to play it. I can offer you the latter, hopefully. So I'm not going to look at you and go, no, it's okay. Why you got to bring up all this? Yeah.
A lot of times, if you leave the record in there too long, just even storing it, never even playing it, just being smashed in there amongst other records, it will start to take on a round shape. You'll actually be able to see in that on the record.
Yeah.
So I try not to. You got to be careful and just don't pack your records too tightly. But yeah,
guilty.
Yeah. But anyway, that's cool. Greg, I wanted to tell you, I know I haven't seen you in 30, almost 35 years, or is it 30 years? 90? Yeah, almost, is it 25 or 30? Yeah, almost 35 years.
Well, we worked together for that small window.
That's true. But we didn't really share any good stories when we were there. But you heard about Sean, right? Sean Huddle?
Yes.
Isn't that sad? Poor guy.
Yeah, because whenever I was... we were packing up the house and putting all my mom's stuff into a pod, one of 3 that she should have had, but she ended up getting storage units, whenever it was too late. But Glenn came over there, and I was telling him, and I had recently, and I think you and I talked about that somebody reached out from was it Facebook Messenger? Yeah. Somebody reached out to me via that, and he's like, hey, could you do me a favor? And I responded back with, sure, what is it? And I never heard anything.
I got the exact same message.
Yeah.
And I had encountered that kind of scam before. It's a scam. Somebody hacked his account. And so I can't remember. I completely deleted the entire conversation. But as soon as I realized it was a scammer, he wanted me to take a picture of something. It was like a check or a credit card or something.
Make sure that the routing number is visible.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was he wanted to send me a picture. He wanted me to send him a picture of. So the second I realized it was a scam, I went online and looked for a picture of a naked dude with the biggest hog.
Yeah.
Fully erect.
Did you get that one dude that's on the end of the... Did you get that one dude on the edge of the bed that went viral?
I don't know.
I forget what his name was.
The one you have as a poster above your bed, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get that one.
The one that anytime the steam gets too much on the bathroom mirror, it imprints. Yeah.
No, but this guy, as soon as I sent him the picture too, he was like, "Ooh, that looks good. Is that yours, or do you want to get it on?" And at that point, I completely knew it wasn't Sean. Yeah. And but anyway, what we're saying is our friend, previous supervisor at the wholesale seafood company, passed away very recently, and I think kind of suddenly.
Yeah, very suddenly.
It was sad.
Yeah, I forget what he kind of said it was.
Was it a heart thing, right? Like a heart attack, or
I'm not sure if it was a heart failure or a stroke. I'm not certain.
Well, him and a couple of his other friends used to come to a lot of my DJ events. If I do trivia night or karaoke or whatever, so he was like a supporter of small businesses and stuff. Yeah. Speaking of small businesses, this podcast is brought to you by Digital DJs of Hampton Roads, and I could say that they're our sponsor because they're my company too. If you need a DJ for weddings, corporate events, anything like that, just go to ddjhr.com. That has been a sponsored commercial. You have anything like that you want to promote?
Yeah, just my TikTok account.
Yes, you are crazy with the TikTok. How does someone follow you on, I'll put a link in the description, but how does somebody follow you on TikTok?
Let me pull it up. I'm not prepared. I'm new to this. How are you guys doing today? Just fill for time.
It's tree something. Right?
Yeah, it's underscores after each letter. Just the letter tree.
The letter T.
Underscore.
The letter R.
Underscore.
E. Underscore.
E. Underscore.
Another underscore. At that.
Yep.
At tree. And
that's correct.
That's going to be.
That's
There's some funny impersonations you do, including a sling blade.
All right, Dan. I reckon I appreciate the kudos that you're tossing my way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. And of course, you're wearing the jersey.
Oh, you noticed?
Official jersey of Bobby Boucher from Adam Sandler's classic, The Waterboy.
I bought myself something to have some long sleeves just in case the studio was a little bit cold. It's the first time I've been in this facility whenever we have had electricity flowing freely and without the use of a gas-powered piece of equipment.
Can you believe that we did our last podcast with a generator? With a generator. Who
Time to stop. Hold on. I don't hear the noise anymore. And then let's see here. Oh, yeah. And Instagram, it's the same as my TikTok, except at the end of the last underscore, there's the number 13. So it's tree
underscore R underscore E underscore E underscore and then a 13. Okay, yeah. Show
that up
show
there.
America. We'll put a link in the description too. So, but anyway, getting back to what I was saying is because I've had a lot of adventures in my life since we went to school together.
Yeah.
And a job that I had back in the late 90s, starting in 97 to the end of 99, I was a manager. Well, I got into video store management. I was working in 93. I was working at Pizza Hut, just as a cook, a lowly cook. Not that cooks are lowly. Cooks are awesome. I mean, they're the backbone of the business.
You just meant his experience.
I was lowly. I was a lowly human being at the time.
I was not as tall.
But I got so good. Have you ever seen those viral videos of the pizza sauce being put on the pizza at Costco? It's just like a dispenser, and then the thing just spins, and then the arm moves, and it supposedly puts sauce on the pizza perfectly.
The perfect proportions.
But I could get a ladle, dump it on, it was Pizza Hut. I put it right on the pizza, and then smooth it around, and it was uniform and perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect. Yeah. And I to quickly get to the fun part of the story, I worked there long and hard. That's what she said. And I became a shift manager at Pizza Hut. And I was doing that job for a while. And then I noticed that I really like video stores. You know, Kevin Smith and Clerks and all that. That whole world. I was so into that. And his movies are great. But I saw a want ad. I honestly think it might have been in the paper at the time, because we're talking 93.
Yeah.
The internet wasn't
Papers were still a thing.
Yeah. And they were hiring for a shift manager at a video store. And so I went and applied, and to my surprise, I was already a shift manager at a Pizza Hut. So they're like, hire this guy.
Yeah.
So I quit the pizza job and became a full-time shift manager. And that started my long, nostalgic, wonderful journey in the world of video stores. I worked in that several years. This particular video store that hired me, they changed sort of ownership and names, branding and everything. Worked for them for a couple of years. Then I went over to work for... Then I went over to work for, I noticed an adult video store was hiring for a manager, a actual manager. Are you familiar with Video Extra on 17 and Old Oyster Point Road?
I believe so, yes.
You know where the Love Shack is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Video Extra. And I started working there in 97 as a manager, not the manager. And boy, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you about some of the adventures that I had working there. I eventually, after working there for maybe 6 to 8 months, they moved me to another store where I was the man. I was the manager.
I'm the guy.
Yeah. And so, you know, it was back when it was even... I don't think DVDs were just making it onto the scene.
Yeah.
So we still had a lot of the VHS boxes. And for some reason, the adult video boxes were way larger than because they wanted to push the pictures on there. That's what got people to rent. That's the only thing you have to go by.
That was their thumbnail.
And
you're scrolling on the hub. You're like,
what's the hub? I'm unfamiliar with that.
Black and orange with the high school kids getting in trouble for playing the band at the pep rally. All the kids know exactly what intro he's playing, and they lose their minds. And then a couple of the partakers that are part of the staff just kind of look away like, I hope nobody can see that I'm uncomfortable.
And I tell you can find anything now. A midget, golden showers, you name it.
Yeah.
But back then, this was before there was even a porn hub, before there was even an internet, really. It was just making its debut. And so one time, we had a special little room he went into, and I think this was all sales stuff. Most of our business was done through rentals. But this special little room you went into, you didn't need a membership to go in there and just look at all the titles to purchase. And in the center of the room was sort of an island. It was a glass display case, but it was set up sort of like an island, so you could just look down in the display case, and there were adult toys there. There was everything from vibrators to blow-up dolls to fake JJs, you name it. Plus, the walls surrounding this display case / island was just all porno movies. And so one day, we have a camera set up in in that room, just one camera that's sort of fish-eyed, and you can see everything that's going on in there. And I was doing something, I don't know, organizing videos, putting stickers on or something. And in my peripheral vision, I had the little monitor right about where this computer is, and I looked over, and there's a man, older white man.
Not surprised so far.
And he probably in his late 50s, 60s, and he is laying on the display case. He has climbed up onto the display case and laying on his back.
So he's going full American Pie.
With his pants and underwear pulled all the way down to his ankles.
Again.
And he is just jerking it.
He's face down or he's face up?
No, face up.
Okay.
And he is just in there going to town. And I think the very first thing I do is I didn't want to go in there and confront him right away.
No.
The very first thing I did was I picked up the phone and I called 911 because I wanted him to come out and get this guy. If I went in there and confronted him right away, he'd have ran off like a cockroach, and that would have been the end of it. I was hoping, let me just pretend like I don't notice him. Let him finish. Let him do whatever he's going to do. So when he did finish and the cops still weren't there, I had to act like, because I didn't want him to run or anything. I was hoping, I assumed he's on foot because, people like that just don't drive. And he'd just still be walking down the sidewalk. And so as he's coming out, I was like, have a nice day, sir. Take care. But that was one of the wild stories.
Oh, boy.
And then there's these people, these customers that come in. We got new movies, like a huge cardboard box, an Amazon, if you will, box full of brand new movies almost every day, every other day maybe. And we had customers that would come in there religiously to get these new movies, and they'd rent 10 or 15 of them at a time, 2-3 times a week, every single week, and it never failed. And I don't understand. I understand now you got the Pornhub, you would never even need to go and do this, but these guys are amassing a huge library of VHS tapes of porn, and I don't understand why you would need that much. I mean, just come in there.
They were buying or they were renting?
They were they were renting. They were renting them because there was no nothing to prevent you from copying a VHS tape.
That's what I was going to say. That's the first thing that immediately came to mind for me was that I'm going to come up with my own little side hustle.
Are they selling them?
Had to be.
Yeah, but
had to be.
Selling them to who? I mean, why wouldn't you just
go on down to the swap meet? Go down to the flea market and
business.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? I copy porn movies on VHS tapes and resell them.
I think they would probably do a word of mouth. Is my guess.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, it's just almost sort of like an underground dark black web network type thing,
It's one thing it's weird to be proud of.
Yeah. And there used to be a guy back in the day who made movies called Max Hardcore. You ever heard of him?
No.
Max Hardcore. And he would just be so rude to these women. You know, he would be choking them with his, with his hands and his other parts, and just smacking them until they'd cry, and then he'd get their tears and do things with their tears.
You know, this is only for effect, right? I don't genuinely feel that way about you. I don't like objectifying women, but it's for the camera. It's for the camera.
There was a whole lawsuit. I mean, they brought this guy to court, and they were trying to bring charges. I don't know whatever ended up happening with that, because supposedly these girls were consenting and they were signing forms, but God, the weird stuff. And then they had the German section of the German porn that was just out of this world. A lot of Felchcraft,
a lot of fecal matter, and a lot of
scat porn, as I think they call it.
Just.
But it was a ride. Just what an adventure to work in an environment like that.
Because for me, the allure of said, film, that genre, is things going in.
Yeah.
Not the reverse.
Oh yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not a bit. Nope. Skeet. Nope.
But have you ever seen, because we all have little fantasies. We see a girl walking down the street, or maybe we're making a delivery somewhere, and a beautiful woman answers the door, and maybe she's not so beautiful. Maybe she's just there. She's just barely, like you would maybe have a good time with her, but then
sometimes it's proximity that's what gets the ball rolling.
And then sometimes these women, sometimes there's a really attractive woman that's a total nasty person. She's like just unpleasant.
Yeah.
So you look at these women, it's like, yeah, I'd bang her, but then honestly, I wouldn't mind peeing on her. Just to sort of, and I want her to know
there would pee on you if you were thirsty.
There would be no more encounters after this. I've gotten what I wanted out of you. I'm going to pee on you now, because maybe you're into that, maybe you're not, but I don't like you. But, women are not like that.
No.
Like, that guy, he's such a jerk, but I would love to just bang him.
I would suck the wrinkles out of his ball bag.
I'm glad that they don't have the level of depravity that just exists in the darkest just caverns of our fucked up brains. It's just...
No, man, but now, there's Pornhub. I am very specific in the adult movies that I look at. First of all, it can't be a black cock. There's nothing wrong with black cocks. They're amazing, right?
Yeah.
But I need to pretend that is me. And I usually like the camera angles where the guy sort of has the camera right there on his chest and he's looking down.
Can we put a pin in that?
Yeah.
All right. I got a bit of a detour.
Okay.
You were kind of laying out the groundwork of your, part of your, employment status and everything like that. Part of my background is not long after my wife and I worked together, we were working at a call center where you did like travel. People would call prior to the
like a
internet.
Travel agent?
Yeah, okay. but done with a 1-800, and you're trying to find the lowest fare, and we would just
like
find
Priceline.com.
Yeah. Prior to that,
right.
So the previous incarnation of that.
Is this where you met your wife?
This is where we met.
Okay.
And I knew that was not going to be a sustainable thing. I knew that it was going to be a matter of time before that just moved on or just went out of business or whatever. And so one day a local massage school came in and were doing like student massages and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I was interested in doing that. So I went to school and did that for like almost 15 years.
I don't think I knew.
Whenever you and I worked together,
you were doing that on the side.
I was doing that on the side. So really? For a while there, I was working 7 days a week. I was working,
Were you mobile?
I would go to people's. I would either work at a specific place,
right.
Like a spa or something like that, or try to work in like an affiliated doctor's office, chiropractic, physical therapy, or whatever that capacity. But
why was that line of work appealing to you?
It just was. You know, because I remember.
I just don't like the idea of touching strangers.
No, I get that.
Especially
I
guys.
get that, but to tie this in, whenever you said I want to visualize,
Yes.
whenever I'm looking down, if I'm doing the POV,
Right.
I'm looking down, and mine doesn't have a left turn signal on it like this gentleman does, but they're the similar complexion.
Right.
Okay. There was a girl, a student, whenever because for a while there I was teaching.
Okay.
Okay, and I wouldn't just go in with page this, and then we're going to learn about this muscle and this, and I would try to get to know the people that were in my class. So I would actually get invested in some of these people's lives and learn about them and everything like that, because it's not just, what hurts? Okay, just get on the table. No, you just mentioned it's a personal thing. So if you have apprehensions, how are you going to put me at ease? Just by the way that you're talking, just how comfortable, how confident you are and everything like that. So I'm talking with this one young lady, and
a student.
She is, yes, a student, and she is, she had a girlfriend, and her girlfriend wanted to go through gender reassignment surgery.
Okay.
And I went, okay.
Really? Way back
I
then?
have quite a few questions, because I want to say this was between like 2006, 2010-ish.
Yeah.
I might have been there for like 3 years, so it was in that window.
All right. Well, this is interesting.
So she says that her girlfriend wants to transition, and immediately the questions just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
boom.
Oh, for sure. Now, when you say
So-
girlfriend, you mean they were?
Yes, they were lesbians. They were part of the alphabet, LGBTQ plus.
Right.
And so sure, that's fine. And so when she received the hardware.
You're talking about after she had the surgery?
No, whenever, because she let them know, this is, I want to get this, and I want to add this to me, all right?
Right.
They sent her the wrong colored junk.
Are you being for real?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So she was
So-
a white woman.
So she was a black woman.
Oh.
Because the girl that I
Oh no!
was,
And they sent her a white cock.
Yeah, they sent her some white wedding tackle. Here you go. Here's some dick and balls. They're a little bit pale.
So what happened? Did they end up putting it on her?
It was still kind of a work in progress. It was just, but at the moment that it was presented, it was just like, okay, lessons for today are pretty much paused.
Yeah.
We're sitting in on this.
Right.
And those of them that kind of took offense to that, they just kind of buried their head in the books and they just started studying and stuff.
And you guys were discussing?
And we're
having
just
this
openly discussing
out
as
loud?
a classroom. Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, so let's say you are a lesbian woman in your current, as it's currently constituted. All right. Now your girlfriend is trying to change genders.
Well, I assume that she was probably more masculine.
She could have been a little bit more of a, to use the term butch type of person.
Yeah.
But then she's supposedly going to get a dick put on her.
Yeah.
Does that make you heterosexual now? Does that make this an interracial relationship because now you got a white dick? Because she was like Puerto Rican, or she had some like Latin. I want to say she might have been black with some Latin mix.
Yeah.
And then her girlfriend was black. And I'm going, okay, so now this is like,
Yeah, you got 3 different genders going on.
this
there.
is like NATO and
Well, so what happened?
that's the thing is that it was basically this one little discussion. It was just kind of a detour of like, hold the phone, wait a second. But I never really found any kind of, I was never able to hear about, because once they got through under my
They
tutelage,
moved on.
then they would go to
man.
further studies and stuff like that. So if I didn't get the chance to teach something that it was needed for them, and I didn't have the opportunity to have a little bit more conversation, to find out, hey, how did things, turn out? But
if I were to get a new penis, I would love to get a black penis.
Right.
That would be amazing.
Right.
I would love to have a huge black penis.
Right.
That would, my wife would love it. I would love it. It would be fantastic. And you got the color contrast happening there.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing. That is a good story. That is a great story.
Yeah.
Wow.
As soon as I heard that, I went,
But getting back to the Pornhub and the POV thing, some of my other criteria, you got to have a normal looking wiener.
Yeah.
You know, there are multicolored ones. Have you seen the ones that are like sort of white at the head, but then halfway down they start like sort of a mulatto kind
of? It's like, are you like, how do?
That's just the way they are.
It's like the way
I can't do that.
If you take the side view of a fish, the top of it is to prevent predators from coming on over top.
Right.
And the bottom is white.
Yes.
Same thing. It's are you trying to have your dick blend into some type of local vegetation or something? Is that? It's like, hold on. Is that a wiener? No, that's a cattail.
And then some of them have these massive members, these massive shafts, and a little tiny head.
Yeah.
I have to skip. I can't. That won't work for me.
It's like, what?
It's got to be.
I've heard of a barrel-chested fellow, but not a barrel-shafted fellow. That's just.
I mean, women probably love it, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's gotta be, you know. And then the positions, you know, everything. The lighting has to be right.
Yeah. What is this, fucking amateur hour?
Yeah, it's got to be at least 60 FPS, right?
Okay.
You know,
all right.
A lot of criteria. And then if you go to the compilations, that's always good too.
Yeah, just like a highlight reel.
But you know, honestly, there are a lot of people, I've heard this through my church, that are addicted to pornography. I didn't realize this was a thing. You can actually become addicted, and one of the problems of being addicted to pornography, aside from, I don't know if you have a moral issue with it, but is that most guys, when they go and masturbate, the objective is to not be in there for, you know, an extended period of time. When you're with a woman, sure, be in there half an hour, do your thing, make it last.
When you're young, yeah.
Right.
When you're young, but whenever you get older, you're like, come on,
you know,
we got to wrap this up.
We're not leaving for
we got to wrap this
8 more minutes, right? I got time.
Come on.
But if you do the pornography, because your issue is you just want to get it over with, then that can affect you in the bedroom with a real woman. You're going to be like, you know, the lighting isn't right here, and I'm not looking at the right angle, and I'm normally done in 3 minutes. That's cool with you, right? So that's. You know, porn can ruin you for that. So that's a real issue plaguing America.
But see, I think that's just based on the personality type. If you are someone who's a little bit more risk averse, if you just don't have the, because last time we spoke, you know, it's hard for me to recollect because I don't have the sound of the
the generator
to kind of spark my memory.
You know, the AC just turned off and it got a lot quieter.
It did. It instantly got quieter.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
It was something about masturbation and being addicted to that. And
yeah, I think that because you had said that you don't have any problems just talking to people regardless of their level of hotness,
right?
And I'm to the point where I just
kind of same.
I just where you're just I'm wearing a wedding band, you're wearing a wedding band.
Yeah.
Just, okay. Yeah. You just happen to be hot. That's nothing's gonna transpire after that. It's just.
But you know the reptile part of our brain, the Neanderthal or whatever. There's just. It's biology. There's a little part of you that's tingling, like this is a very attractive woman, and let me have a millisecond here of a fantasy
of just an interaction. I mean, first of all, if you're just finding out whether or not someone's pleasant, and let's say that you're citing those people that are a little bit more of the, cave dweller type, I don't like to be outside. I'm an introvert and therefore I'm not going to speak to someone that I'm attracted to, then well, what's the likelihood that they're going to actually find that person who has a mutual, interest, who finds, who gets them there and they do the same,
Well, thank goodness for Grindr, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But you know what else, too, an observation that I have, I didn't realize this when I was younger and single, that a big turn on for me is when there's an incredibly attractive woman and she either doesn't act like it or she doesn't know it. Most of them know it, but the ones who just act like, just
down to earth,
very friendly,
approachable.
I understand why sometimes they're like that is because like every single dude that talks to them has intentions.
Yeah.
And that can get real. That can just make you, you just don't want to be nice to
and I'm sure they're able to, bullshit detector is always on.
No, always. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It's just a matter of, and because I remember being in high school and I was always just so intimidated by if you were just, you know, in my eyes, a 7 or, you know, higher as far as being attractive. I was intimidated.
Yeah.
Well,
you were no threat to them because when you walked by them, you were just like,
well, the ones that I would talk to, they were comfortable with me because, you know, they didn't view me in that, you know, regard.
Right.
And I would never approach, because first of all, socially, I was not as adept as being able to know how to make fun of myself if something stupid or clumsy happened and just completely not take myself too seriously and not, you know, it was always about presentation and first of all, am I hot enough? Am I dressed right? Is there going to be a crackle in my voice whenever I speak to you?
Yeah.
And
we're full of insecurities at that age.
And it's just, but then I remember meeting one girl and I just was talking to her and I was like, this girl is really cool. I mean, she's tall, beautiful, and she just seemed like she was really down to earth. And I was like, man, if I would have, you know, however long had this kind of interaction, I'm not saying that she would have gone for me or something like that, but I would have not been intimidated, and I could have possibly been around other folks and then started to get myself a little bit more acclimated, you know, in a social setting. And then, you know, I wouldn't have been as much of a recluse.
Did you say that you sat with us at lunch?
I
remember sitting with your brother.
I may have, but I got to a point where I stopped sitting with him.
Why?
Just because we're
the sibling rivalry.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's just that we're just diametrically opposed as far as what our interests are and what we talk about. And he's an introvert.
Yeah, he was.
And he mumbles. And
still,
yeah.
Really?
To this day. So
really?
Prior to my dad passing, if we were kind of hanging out, right, and he started talking, my dad would look at me as if I'm his interpreter.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, Dad, he said this.
Yeah.
He said, I know what he said.
I know people like that
because whenever I was in the Navy, people would call me, you know, Gump, and I hated it because of my last name being Forrest. I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
He would embrace it.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, dude? And then, of course, some people started calling him Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Yeah,
because that's
right.
And without the twang. It's just.
What if he listens to this podcast?
Okay.
You're okay with that?
Stop me if I'm lying, all right? You know, but
oh, man.
Yeah, it's.
Wait, and also a week. No, wait a minute. How long ago was it? It was like when we do it was like a few days after we did our last podcast. Mm-hmm. I went and picked up my one shift a month that I go and I wait tables. Mm-hmm. And guess who I waited on? You remember we were talking about him before. He also sat with me at lunch. Richard. Without saying last names.
Yeah.
Because I did tell him to listen to this show. But he was there with his whole family, which was mixed racially, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, I guess he had his wife and he had a few kids.
I know he's got a son and a daughter, but then after that, I don't.
Yeah, I think maybe his daughter was with a guy that was African American. I'm not sure, but it was really neat to catch up with him. He was very friendly. The tipping system is all done through computer now, so you don't always, unless you go and do the research, you don't always know what people tip you.
Yeah,
I assume he tipped me well because by the end of the night, I made really good money.
Right.
And I assume he was part of the reason for that. But it was just kind of neat to see him. We tried. I told him that me and you were doing a podcast, and I told him to listen. I'll have to send him a link or something. But it was just kind of neat to see. He runs his own plumbing company now. Did you know that?
I knew he was doing plumbing. I just didn't know.
I think he has his own plumbing company now.
That's
kind of neat.
Because
and we talked about Kenny Trim. Do you remember Kenny Trim?
The name
he
sounds
sat with
familiar.
us. Albert Trim.
He
died.
Those names.
He died.
Those names sound familiar, but
6-7 years ago, heart attack. Didn't take care of himself. And then there was another guy named Albert. Albert, I think his name was. We were in ROTC together, and I said to Richard, you know, he died too. And he's like, yeah, heroin overdose. Albert something. I don't know. He was almost, I don't want to say he was an albino, but he had just sort of...
light complected.
Very light complected, sort of just kinky blonde hair. I can't remember his last name though. But anyway.
Yeah, I was in actually the one guy that I was running with for a while. He died at 26. And he was a little bit...
You didn't bring any yearbooks with you, did you?
No, I did not.
Oh, dang it.
And if I did, I would be absolutely embarrassed to open them up because I told my wife, I said, because I'd mentioned that you made that, that request.
Yeah.
And I look back and all I do is see just complete shame because I was completely unfiltered with what I wrote in there about, like, if I thought somebody was hot, I would put babe.
Really?
I would,
that's hilarious.
Dude,
that's awesome.
It was like I was a gossip show, and I just look back on myself like, you are such a fucking loser, just writing this stuff, and just seeing what people sign, the stupid shit that people sign. First one to sign your crack or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Don't ever change.
How was your picture? Did you look okay?
Anytime I see my own picture, I'm kind of I've got mixed feelings on it.
Yeah.
Despite if someone gives me praise based on my appearance, thanks or whatever. But if I see my own picture, I'm kind of in two different minds about.
Yeah.
The mirror is different. For some reason, the mirror makes me feel better than a picture.
Yeah.
For some stupid reason.
Yeah.
I think it's based on my own delusion, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, if I'm not ready, and you got a little bit too much of the chin, the beard's covering it up. But if you've got too much, it's like you got like a belly roll underneath your jaw. You go, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, there can be so much wrong.
I must have just eaten at that picture. What did you eat? Like 7 wedding cakes? No, that's you. You haven't, kept yourself in the proper shape. I can't blame it on. I must have been full. No,
I remember my picture, and I was just reeking of no confidence. I didn't even know how to smile. Like,
right here, look this way.
Should I smile? Am I smiling?
Yeah, and I hated that because they were never putting me in the most natural positions.
Were you also pictured in any part of any clubs or anything? Or was it just your one picture?
I think if I did any clubs, because I was part of marketing, and they called it DECA.
DECA. What does that stand for?
Distributive Education Clubs of America. And I don't know. Please don't call me a loser.
Well,
then I played.
Look at him now.
I played baseball.
Yes, look at me now. I'm going as if I'm a fake football player.
Yeah.
Mommy says that I might be the devil.
Did we ever talk about the third floor? Or did Chris ever talk with you about the third floor?
I'd always heard about it. About there being a pool.
Well, let me tell you, I was one of the central people in that whole. I'll tell you the third floor story right now. So there was a third floor at Phoebus High School back in the late 80s. And we just discovered, I think it was either me or Rob Mackey discovered it by accident. We just got one of our regular keys, like a house key, and we stuck it in this thing, and we turned it, and all you have to do is put it in there the tiniest bit just to give it a little, and sure enough, it went up to the third floor. Now, after the third floor debacle, they eventually put a lock over it, so you couldn't do that anymore. But I remember the very first time me and Rob discovered the third floor. We were the discoverers of that. There's no pool up there. There's definitely no pool. It looked like Nightmare on Elm Street boiler room. There was just all kinds of heating duct and air conditioning ducts and furnaces and all that kind of stuff. But it was a huge amount of space. I mean,
probably zero circulation.
Yeah,
just a bunch of stagnant air, stale air.
Well, we
it was really cool.
It was tolerable. But we'd go up there and we told a couple of our friends, but we made them promise, don't tell, let's not ruin this. Don't tell everybody about it. Of course they did.
Yeah.
And so one thing I decided to do was we had a little chill room up there, a place that we figured that we could sit and just chill. And it was the most chill spot up there. and I decided to cut some pictures out of a dirty magazine, like Hustler or something a little bit hardcore. It wasn't like Playboy soft stuff.
And then there was an old man laying on top of it, just finishing himself off.
But I would tape these on the walls up there. So us guys, when we went up there, just imagine if you put those kind of pictures on the wall just as decoration. Instead of American flag, I've got a variety of Hustler magazines.
What is that? Well, if you back up a little bit, you can see that that's someone's birthing canal.
But then the smartest thing I did, I brought a wind-up alarm clock because nobody wore a watch. We had no idea what time classes ended and began.
No.
So we had a tick-tick wind-up clock that we kept up there too. Eventually, girls started going up there that were part of our people that we told not to tell anybody. And it ended up being like at least a dozen people when everything was said and done. And so what are girls thinking when they're going up there and they walk into this room? It's like, what do they have in mind? You know, there's just these hardcore Hustler pictures all over the wall.
Do you think she's hot? Do you think I'm hot? No, I'm not going to touch that.
But so one day near the end, it only lasted a couple of weeks. And then one day I got so lucky. I was on the bottom floor, where we have lunch, and I was going to go up there. I said, I'm going to skip this next class and go up to the third floor. And as I'm walking to the elevator, first floor, it opens, and there's like 5 kids in there. I think Richard was one of the kids with Mr. Bennett. You remember the vice principal? Yeah. So, and he was escorting them off of the elevator, and I'm pretty sure they all got suspended. And then they but I almost got caught. I was literally on my way up to the
You were on your way to essentially confess.
Well, yeah, I guess. I
don't know how I got here.
I don't think that they ratted anybody out because I never got questioned about it. I don't think Rob ever got caught either.
Who else?
But
nobody.
You remember Mr. Bennett, right?
Oh, yeah.
I saw him years later at the Olive Garden. I waited on him, and I talked to him. And I think he might have remembered my name, but he didn't really remember a lot of the misadventures that I got in. And do you remember Mr. Smith, the math teacher?
Oh, yeah.
He sort of looked like Frank Perdue.
Yep. Yep. Really soft-spoken.
Yes.
And then because I had him.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
So did I.
I think I had him as a freshman.
He was such a good math teacher.
He was just a kind man.
He was like from a different generation. He was like Mr. Rogers or somebody from the 1950s.
And he... I only saw him get upset one time, and he did not swear or something like that.
No.
He raised his voice up enough to indicate this is not. I'm not going to tolerate this. Yeah. And I was never somebody who I did not I was not at the end of his scope or whatever. It was I just remember being present.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're just seeing this angst
so
manifest
bad for
in
him.
this just an absolute gentle person.
Yes.
And
yes.
He was just, I'm not. And I go,
yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and he would I remember I sat in the class with him, in the back of the class, with a guy named Donovan or Donnie or whatever. I can't remember his last name. And a girl named Nikki, who went on to go into the adult film.
Yeah.
You know her. Okay.
Yeah.
And we sat in the back of the class, and we were cutting up and being loud all the time and disrupting the class. And he would just, all right, now guys, I'm not gonna tell you anymore. But he never really raised his voice. I felt so bad. I saw him years later at the Olive Garden, and I said to him, Mr. Smith, you were such an amazing math teacher. I was such a moron and a disruptor in your class, and I want to apologize to you for that. You were such an amazing, and he appreciated it so much. I don't think he really remembered me specifically and all the trouble, but I think he appreciated it that I got older and realized how did I?
Because if you have any kind of self-awareness about yourself, if you can evaluate yourself in at any capacity, and then you're able to look in hindsight and go, Had I done things a little bit better, I'm not saying that you always are looking back going, I wish I could go back or anything like that. But if you could just change a couple of stupid decisions or people that you hung out with, or maybe just a toxic relationship or something like that, you just got just a little tweak. Oh man, what a and. Yeah, he was
a good guy. I one time I used to wear contact lenses. I still do, but I wore them back then, and I thought that the bottles that the saline solution or whatever that came in were cool. I didn't want to throw them away.
Yeah.
So I decided one day to when I had an empty bottle, I decided to fill it up with whiskey. And I brought it to math class, and me and Donnie and Nikki were squirting this saline solution bottle. We were squirting Jack Daniels or whatever it was. I mean, I don't think we were getting drunk.
No,
because it was just a tiny little.
But it was wrong.
Oh, it was so wrong. It was so wrong. And we sat in the back.
This is exciting.
Class, and we were just squirting this. Oh, I remember that. God, I can't believe a girl like Nikki would even talk with.
She was on that list of people I was like, I can never speak to her.
Yeah, I think because we were forced into the same class and we sat near each other. We sort of all got along and everything. But I never even would dream of asking her out.
For me, she was like the original goth chick.
Yeah, for sure she was.
Because you never even knew that term.
She's aged very well too. I follow her on Twitter.
I remember seeing her and just all the black. All the heavy makeup, teased her hair.
Oh yeah, big time.
Just to 10, and then just quiet. I wouldn't see her like if she's walking the halls. I wouldn't see her like just loud and boisterous. It was just kind of she was to herself, and I was like, I'll never be able to speak to her. And then you later get to learn that terminology of the goth chick, and you go, okay, for me she was the original.
I actually asked her in the last year or two if she wanted to do a podcast with me, an interview. Actually, years ago, we had you know Ron Jeremy, right?
Yep.
I was DJing at a place in Hampton called McFadden's,
right?
And we had a celebrity meet and greet, and Ron Jeremy came there, and that got me thinking. I said, you know what? I would like to have Nikki come and do it. I don't know how many people would know her, but she was an actual adult star. And anyway, I communicated with her, and then a couple of years more recently, like 2 years ago or so, I asked her if she wanted to do an interview, and she said she's not really in a place right now in her life where she wanted to do that. Apparently she had an issue with a stalker for a while, and
you'd have to would have to in that line of work. You just mention the guy just polishing himself off. Whenever there's and if you don't see there's a little black dome in the corner,
right?
Or
just not
something more overt, which is a fucking camera. If you can't see that and just not do that.
Oh God!
You know what? These girls are getting me really horny, but there's other people right here, so just let me wait. No, I can't.
But she did say that at some point she might do it. Like we'll do a Skype or a FaceTime or something.
Zoom, yeah.
I would just love to hear her journey all the way back from then to how she ended up in the line of work. She's into like spirituality now and crystals and all that stuff. So, but yeah, she was cool.
Because I remember hearing, I think it was Adriana Chechik was doing the Two Bears interview.
Okay.
So she is a
I don't know her
big time name in adult film.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yes.
Their name sounds slightly familiar, but I don't.
And there's been several people and then there's a couple of comedians that like to do that's kind of that's one of the things that they like to do is they have them on frequently because if you're living out in LA, a lot of people in that industry are based out there. So there's two comedians. Trevor Wallace is one of them, and I can't think of the other guy's name. But he's another comedian, and I remember seeing them both, and then they cut to the third camera, and person on the couch or whatever, and that's an adult film star, and she's just talking matter of factly about the stuff that she has to deal with, and.
Well, because of this girl had a stalker issue, I don't think she'd want to go too far back. She didn't. I don't think she would want to put her hometown or all that kind of stuff.
Especially if there's things that still haven't been resolved.
Yeah,
because that's. I mean, first of all, just being a man, there's so much less crap that I have to deal with. Just being a dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, I mean, I don't get in the car and immediately lock the door.
There's so many things to be thankful for.
I get in the car in the daytime in a very visible on like, you know, the busiest street in the city, you know, and immediately, like my wife, immediately she waits for my door to shut and immediately hits the lock.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
If you're a child or if you're a woman or, you know, a girl of any age, shit, that's always in the forefront of your brain.
You know, whenever we're, my wife and I are at home, we don't have any kids or anything. Mm-hmm. We have dogs and pigs and chickens and ducks. And I always get on her about, like at least locking the screen door.
Yeah.
Because you hear these stories about home invasions and stuff, you know. I've seen so many videos, you know, people, they'll just come up. Matter of fact, it happened a few weeks ago. And we have security cameras out front. My wife was telling me, it's a good story. It's a good story, actually. So I'm driving home from work. I just got done DJing. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And as I'm pulling on the last couple of streets before I get home, my wife texted me. She said, Chris, some dude just came to our house. And she thought that he had, grabbed the handle and was like, you know, trying to get in. Upon reviewing the security footage later, he was just knocking. He was knocking, but it was almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and this was like some kid, you know, some maybe 18, 19-year-old kid. Why would you do that to our house at 2 o'clock? Walk up onto our property and do that. But so she texted me. She told me exactly what happened. She's like, he's leaving now. He's walking down the street. Well, I was almost at our street.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to encounter this guy. I'm going to see what he looks like. And and I did. I turned down my street and he's walking towards the main road. I decided to turn my car around and I whipped my phone out and I video because I just want to capture what this guy looks like. I don't know. And I made it kind of obvious that I was videoing him. Like he knew. Like I stopped in the middle of Woodland Road where he was walking and was just like, you know, I didn't say anything.
Nope.
But I videoed him. And then I kept walking. I kept driving and I drove to the nearest 7-Eleven. And I knew as long as he didn't take any turns or anything, he was headed towards that 7-Eleven, which he was. So I pulled up to a gas pump. I was hoping that he didn't remember me. I was hoping he didn't see me parked at the gas and was like, that's the guy that was videoing me for some strange reason. I'm just going to keep walking. But he actually walked into the 7-Eleven and I called the cops. I called 911. And I said, this kid just came to our door at almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And at the time, I thought that he was trying to get in because that's what my wife said. I didn't realize he was just knocking. But either way, it's odd behavior. So I stood there, and fortunately, he stayed in that 7-Eleven long enough
for them to get there.
For the cops got there. And I said, he's in there right now. I described exactly what he was wearing and everything. Right. And I said, okay. And so they went in there, and they got his ID, you know, this is what happened. You were reported, somebody fitting your description, blah, blah, blah. So at least they have him. If anything were to come of that, or if he were to get mad and come back later or whatever, at least they have a name now and they've recorded the encounter.
Yeah, and you didn't instantly go into hostility because I've heard some stories about somebody's going through something and they just go to the nearest house.
Yeah. I didn't confront him at all.
And it's almost like, not a cry for help, but I need something. Please help. Please help. Yeah. So if
I just
you
wanted
left a sliver of room if that was in the realm of possibility that he wasn't just trying to, you know, force his way into your house. Maybe he was just trying to find safety.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't know. But he, so I said to the cop, I said, okay, I'm going to let you go in there and deal with him. I'm just going to go home now. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. They never called me back later and told me anything.
No. Here's the update. Yeah, I do remember telling this to you guys. No.
But we watched the security footage, and he did not jiggle the door handle. He just knocked. But still, that's an odd thing.
Yeah. If there's no light from it being daylight and you come to my door, you won't get an answer.
Yeah.
I don't care how many cars are out in front of my house. No.
Well, I'm a little bit of a Second Amendment nut.
Well,
so we are heavily armed. Just in case there would be an actual real home invasion.
Mm-hmm.
We're completely prepared for that. But fortunately, hopefully, it's the type of thing that doesn't happen while we're sleeping. Because it's just there's so many things that can go wrong.
I think we take more of the batter up approach. So just whatever you can swing as a bat.
Yeah, they did that in Back to the Future.
Yeah. So.
You remember when he? It was when Marty. He thought he was going to his old house in Biff Tannen's alternate future, and he went into somebody else's house, and the father came in there,
and it was
with a baseball bat.
The Slackers. That was the principal from his high school back in.
Yeah, that was a different house, but yeah, he was in the same neighborhood. Yeah. And then, do you remember? This is such Hot Tub Time Machine was such a great movie.
Yes.
Hot Tub Time Machine 2 was almost unwatchable.
I did not. I'm learning now that there was a second installment.
Yeah, it was almost unwatchable. They created an amazing thing with the first one. But do you remember when Craig, what's his name?
Robinson?
Craig Robinson. That's his real name, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He called up his future wife, and she was only like 9 years old at the time. And her father.
Put my way back on the phone.
Yeah. This doesn't concern you, Rob, or whatever his name was. That was such a great movie. If you haven't seen Hot Tub Time Machine,
and then she does a callback on that. You remember whenever that scary man called my house? Yes, baby. Yes, baby. It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
I don't know who that was.
I got you. I will protect you from such assholes.
Oh, man. Did we talk about, I saw him at Funny Bone last time we were here. Did we talk about him? And he looked at me and he told me I had haunting eyes.
You did say the haunting eyes line.
And he smelled like weed.
You did say that the haunting eyes line,
Yep. He was funny. Good guy. Mm-hmm. Man, the people from The Office often do appearances at Tidewater Tides games.
Or Comic-Cons.
Well, but there's no Comic-Cons around here. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm the DJ of the Comic-Cons around here. But we've never, as long as I've been doing it, we've never gotten anybody from The Office. They're usually, the bigger Comic-Cons like in New York, maybe DC, San Diego, obviously. But I would like to start going to the Tides games just so I can start meeting some of these I don't think they would ever get anybody like Steve Carell.
No.
But even my wife and I are, especially me, am a huge fan of The Office.
Yeah. I that's one of those that Ryan, my oldest son, he's told me he's watched that and I want to say
that's still recording, right?
I want to say yes. Okay. Parks and Rec.
I didn't get into that as much as The Office. I stopped watching that maybe after season 2.
And then what's the other one? Community was the
is that the one with Chevy Chase?
It is, yeah.
And
then you started hearing about a little bit. You started hearing some stuff about him.
Chevy. Not being a pleasure to work with?
Yeah, some people are like, oh, well, because...
I don't know.
Some people are like, oh, well, so this person is just horrible to work with.
Yeah.
And you go...
I mean... I don't want to make my judgment.
No, I don't know that.
No.
I don't know that. I mean, there's several people that if I've got a good interaction, regardless of if, whatever I know about your interests or your beliefs or whatever, if I still have just a decent interaction, that's all I'm trying to do is just... I
see so many people that get
kind.
They think they automatically assume, that guy's a dick because they heard a story about one time he went into... You catch people on off days sometimes.
Right.
Every celebrity... I've never met a celebrity that wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
I met Jim Brewer. You know him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Jim Brewer.
Yeah.
I waited on him. Mm-hmm. I also waited on Pat Robertson. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh, how about that?
Did we talk about that last time?
No.
Oh, okay. But I waited on Jim Brewer at the same restaurant.
Right.
This is Bravo in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And nicest guy in the world. Mm-hmm. And me being a little bit of a jerk, I walked up to him and I said, hey, man, can I get a picture? While he's eating. while he's eating. And he's so nice. He's like, oh, absolutely. After I'm done eating, if that's okay. And
he handled that great.
He did.
Yeah.
Because I realized later, I was like, my God, what an idiot. Why would I do that?
Yeah. Because I've met people that have
a lot of celebrities came into that restaurant.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Back whenever I was in doing massage therapy, I was working at King's Mill.
Yes.
That resort.
Yep.
And for a time there, they actually had a men's tour event. The PGA Tour would come there.
Okay. So the professional golfers?
Right. So there was one time where I was asked to go over to a golfer's room and give him a massage at his, take a table and everything like that. And as soon as I walk in, he's like, "Hey man, do you want a sandwich or something like that? You want a room service brought me all this food." And
you remember who it was?
Yeah. And dude's name was Nota Begay. And
he's a professional golfer.
Yeah, now he does like commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you. But he was like best friends with Tiger Woods, who is just
I've heard of Tiger Woods. He's a golfer, right?
Far bigger name than than a lot of the guys that are just relegated, because this wasn't a marquee tournament. It was for spectators because you're seeing these really, really good players. Well, there was one girl that happened to work in housekeeping, and she stole one of the players' hoodies. He had a Nike sponsorship, and so she stole his fucking hoodie.
Okay.
And I go, "You did what?" She's like, "Yeah, I took a hoodie out of so-and-so's room," and I went, "You fucking stole this dude." I mean, he's getting this given to him free because it's, Nike and everything like that. He had a sponsorship.
That's not the point.
No, I just was like, what the fuck are you doing? I felt...
When you found out about it, was he still there in the room?
No. This was kind of because they were in town. They come in town. The tournament's Thursday and it ends on Sunday. And then they have a couple of days they're in town before that to do like any practice rounds. Or they'll do like a pro-am. So I'll get matched up with whoever, and it's just random. So they're in.
You would get matched up?
Not me personally, but
okay.
just the average golfer would get paired up with someone who is a professional.
Okay.
And
so what did you do about this hoodie?
But it was after the fact. It was like they had already left.
Okay.
And so
you couldn't snatch it and bring it back to
She divulged it after the fact. Like, here I am, I'm meeting this guy, and I'm kind of apprehensive about saying, "Hey, well, what's your boy Tiger getting into?" I just found myself feeling a little squeamish, a little dirty,
you were right.
just trying to impose myself, and I didn't want to immediately be like, "Hey man, let's be friends, let's trade numbers." I just didn't want to do that because I didn't want to leave that lasting impression. I felt icky.
Yeah.
And she felt none of that shit, just fucking copping a free, hoodie. Yeah. "Hey, this belonged to this one guy." You sorry sack of shit. I went, "What the fuck is wrong with people, man?"
I remember another time I walked up to Isaac Hayes. You know who he is?
Sure I do, children.
Hello, children.
Would you like to taste some chocolate salty balls?
I was in New York City, and we were about to see a Broadway play. It was, I think we went out to dinner. We were on our way to see either Chicago or Les Miserables. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I went into this restaurant, and Isaac Hayes was sitting there in a back booth. One of them booths where you can just put your arms up. Mm-hmm. You're in the corner.
He's a tall dude, ain't he?
I don't know. He's sitting down.
Well.
I walked up to him, and I think he was eating or drinking, having a drink or something. Mm-hmm. Again, super nice guy. And I really only knew him from South Park and Shaft. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot musically and acting, and I just said, "Hey, I'm a huge fan, and I think your work is great," and blah blah blah. I think it might have. I don't remember. I think it was when he was still doing the voice of Chef before he left. Mm-hmm. He left because of Scientology. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just another instance where he could have been a dick, and he'd have been within his right to do that. But he was very, very nice, and I just went on my way after that. I left.
But I think that because I think the exception to these interactions would have been Jim Brewer, because anybody else, everybody seemed it was like approached with like a little bit of, hey,
yeah,
I recognize you,
right,
and I'd like to say hi,
yeah,
and I just don't want to make a big scene about it,
yeah.
And that's kind of how those things were done. Again, he said, let's kind of finish eating, and
with his son.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So,
and then we just did a quick selfie. I have it somewhere.
In
some file, but yeah,
it's not framed.
I've actually
on your wall.
Have you seen some of the people that I've met?
Yeah.
We used to go and stand in line to try to get into Saturday Night Live.
Okay,
back in 2001, 2002. So Will Ferrell and all those guys were still on the show, and they would come down the elevator.
Sandler had left by then, hadn't
Yes,
he? Yeah.
yes. He had already blown up. And they'd come down the elevator and just do pictures with people standing in line that hadn't even made it into the show. And it was so great. Horatio Sands I met, Rachel Dratch, yeah. Dratch, Will Ferrell, Lorne Michaels. I did a selfie with him, and it was really cool. It was a really neat time, and I was fortunate enough to meet all these people before they became super huge. One time, 2001, they had just launched Microsoft XP, and in Bryant Park in New York City,
All right.
they were doing a benefit concert. And I don't know if it was a benefit concert, but it was a launch party concert.
Right.
And Sting was there, and I am a huge Sting fan. And
I didn't know you like wrestling.
No, not that Sting. I don't really know that much about wrestling, but Sting was there, and Bill Gates was there. Also, he just came up on stage and said a few words and told people how excited they all should be about the launch of Microsoft XP. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to get to meet anybody. I was just there to enjoy the concert. I didn't have any plans on, but as the concert sort of starting to wind down, there's there's like a little cafe or a restaurant that's built into the back of this building that sits on Bryant Park. And so Sting, this was just sort of a random encounter. Sting was walking back to head into this cafe, and I was walking towards the cafe, and we encountered each other. I think I shook his hand, and I said, dude, I'm a huge fan, and you put on a great show. It was very brief, but I was on cloud nine after that. Again, nice guy, super nice guy. He said thank you, and
if it's done with, if you've got if you've got a modicum of modesty about you, hey, I really don't want to make this a big scene or something like that. I just, especially if it's somebody that has, if it's got a lot of meaning for you or whatever. Because if someone has come to me with any type of adulation or praise or something like that, I'm thanks. I don't a lot of times I'm just grateful, for if it's because if they are, if I made them laugh or whatever it is, then hey, thanks, I appreciate that, but you
Sure.
damn right you like me. Yeah, I guess.
yeah.
That's
I don't know if I told you this too. One time, did I tell you about the time I almost went on the David Letterman show? I went to a taping of his show 5 times. I think I went to 5 different things. But there was one time that we were in talks with when I used to do voiceovers of me actually going on the show and reading a top 10 list. Did I ever tell you about that?
No, that would have been awesome.
It would have been. So, I redid the voice of AOL. The original guy who did You've Got Mail, that's not me.
Nope.
But years later,
told me
back in 2000,
you were male, and then you had a female counterpart.
Right. I redid the voice of You've Got Mail. We personalized it, so it says You've Got Mail, Chuck. You've Got Pictures, Chuck. Goodbye, Chuck. I don't know why I picked that name out of the blue, but
it works, man.
So the people were in talks. I guess the promotional people from AOL was like, what would be hilarious and help sort of launch, have the girl and the guy, which was me, go on the David Letterman show and read top 10 reasons to get AOL, or top 10 things you're on AOL, or something about the top 10 reasons. And I remember they even said, that Chris, they can only pay you $500. And I was like, I would have paid them to be on the David Letterman show.
Dude, just the exposure.
Oh my God.
Just the exposure.
Just to meet one of my friggin' icons who had a tremendous influence on me.
Absolutely.
But so anyway, I guess they sort of backed out a little bit, and I imagine it was a huge fee that they would have had to pay to the show, because it's like inserting a commercial.
Right.
And the project just sort of lost steam, and they decided not to do it.
Yeah.
But it was my close chance to be on the David Letterman show.
That was your near brush with fame.
But I did go to a taping of the David Letterman show 5 different times. And one of the times, after the first or second time, I realized he takes questions from the audience before the show. He'll come out real quick when we're all pumped up.
Pardon the interruption.
Yeah.
Was this his CBS, or was this during his NBC
This
run?
was Ed Sullivan, CBS.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And I realized after already seeing him once or twice that he only picks one person to answer a question from. Just one person. And you have to be, when he says, can I take any questions? You've got to be quick with your hand. You've got to be quick, because he just, boom, just like that. So I did it. I was lucky. And he came out. Any questions for the audience? And my hand shot up quick. So he looked at me, he pointed at me, he says, yeah, right there. And I was such an idiot. I didn't know what to say. So I said to him,
What kind of pizza do you like?
no, I did. And someday I'll post
Do you like
this.
girls?
I did a taping of the David Letterman show where I played David Letterman. This was like fresh out of high school. In 1990, I did this. I put on a suit. I actually got a copy of, I VHS recorded a copy of the David Letterman show, and I wrote down all the dialogue up until the first guest came out. And I reenacted all of it. I even played Paul. Like a cut to a different camera shot.
Put on a rubber,
I don't even think I did that. I just put on like a Hawaiian shirt.
Some weird glasses.
And I had glasses.
What's that, Dave?
Yeah. I promise you, I'm going to post this footage someday, because it's on VHS, and it's hilarious. And I'm like 18 years old. And so I told Dave, when he says, "Are there any questions in the audience?" I said, "Dave, I used to imitate you, and I made my own little show when I was, I did your show. I pretended I was you, blah, blah, blah." And you know how Dave is. And he just said something like, "Oh, good for you," or "I'm glad you're spending your time wisely," or just some quip.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it was just a neat treat for me, though, because I got to talk to David Letterman.
Yeah.
And of course, I met Adam Carolla, which I was super excited about. And then one time back in '93, I went to The Price is Right. I was back when Bob Barker was still hosting, and he, he called on me for a question. Any questions from the audience? I said, "What does one have to do to increase one's chance of being chosen as a contestant, to be called up? Come on down." And he just gave me some, you have to be enthusiastic, and, you got to have that something special that our producers are looking for, blah, blah, blah. This is off camera. This is April 13th, 1993 is the taping of that particular show I went to.
Roughly.
Yeah. But it was cool to be able to talk to Bob Barker.
Thereabouts.
But anyway, yeah. So, what else?
Let's see here.
Got any other good stories for us?
Let's see here. Back whenever I was in the military, there was a girl that I worked with that, she went home because it seemed as though she was having a bit of a marital issue, her and her husband, right? And we were in a isolated duty station, so it was only
said duty.
Settle down, Beavis. So she had to fly home back to DC or wherever.
The States.
And
you were in Hawaii.
I was in Diego Garcia, which is in the Indian Ocean, 7 degrees south of the equator. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's
hot.
So I flew to get there. I left Norfolk, flew to Philly. went from Philly to Sigonella, Italy, which is, I want to say, on Sardinia. Is that the island?
Uh-huh.
Right off the tip of the boot there.
Yep.
And then from there flew to Dubai. And then from Dubai flew to Diego Garcia in 94. So she had to do a similar type of route. Went home for however long and then came back and was like, all right, we're done. And I go, oh, really? Y'all are finished, huh? And there was plenty of time where it was, we both knew, like, okay, if things were made available to us, we would definitely, spend some quality time with one another.
Was this before you were married?
Oh yeah. This was,
okay.
This was 94.
We're in safe territory.
This was 94.
94.
No. I got married in 2000, so
But you weren't able to spend quality time together for some reason.
Well, because she was married, and I didn't.
No,
I
but
wasn't
after
gonna be
she got back.
No, when she came back, and then it was like, oh, it's on.
Okay.
And I go,
okay.
Hey.
Well, that's cool.
So, we are 12 hours ahead of Eastern time over
Yes.
there. Okay. So, I remember watching Dateline. And you know that they get to a certain segment where they show you the Dateline timeline. All these events occurred in what year, and they give you a choice.
Yes.
And I had already watched it. Well, a little bit later on, she and I are watching it together, and then she sees, oh, this happened in this day. And I go, no, it didn't. She goes, yeah. And she was older than I was. I think I was 19 or 20, and she was 29. So for me, that was like...
So this is just a rebroadcast of the same show.
The exact same
She
show.
didn't realize you'd already seen it. Okay,
No.
Gotcha.
No, but it was just being belligerent about it. She's
Right.
like, oh, this happened in this. And
Yeah,
I
she was so
and-
confident.
oh, yeah. And I go, no, it didn't. And she goes, I'll bet you anything. I go,
Oh, boy.
name it.
Yeah.
She goes, if you're right, I'll blow you right here.
Okay. That's great.
And I go, all right, well, what if I'm wrong? I got
You have to blow her,
I
right?
gotta, yes. I need a snorkel. So she goes, well, you got to go back to my room, because her roommate at the time, she originally had a thing for me, and I was in a relationship and I did not see it. I had blinders on her. I had pussy blinders on.
Yeah.
I was completely happy and in love with the person I was with at the time. And then, Penny.
But you're fooling around with this girl.
Penny walks in and she's like, hey, can I borrow your dress top uniform? And I go, yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
And just kind of dismiss her, because I wasn't, she could have walked in topless. I would have gotten the hint. Oh, got it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that overt, but, later on, Lisa, the girl that I was, they ended up messing with, she goes, yeah, Penny was really into you. She was throwing it at you. And I go, what? So you got to do better than that, and to just, try to be subtle, because sometimes guys are just immune to subtle.
Yeah.
So I had to, play it off and go, well, what happens if I lose?
Right.
We got to go back to my room.
We got to go back to my room.
We got to go back to my room.
Where she
And
is.
I was like...
Is she introducing perhaps a three-way?
No. But I just know that there's some animus there, and you just think,
Okay.
I don't want to deal with that. I'm not getting into extracurricular with the potential of violence occurring. That's not my thing. I've got a different kink than that, yeah. But
Well, and it doesn't matter because you ended up being right.
so yes, it comes back on. Now we are in 3-story barracks, and in the absolute middle of second and third floor is just a common area. It's just a room with a couple of microwaves, a handful of couches, and a big TV. So it's just basically, if you don't have your own setup like that in your room, go there, watch whatever your show is. She's like, all right, whip it out. And I go, we're not doing that here. I'm not doing that here.
You were in the commons area.
Yeah, I'm in a place that's just no protections. Anybody could just walk in, and I'm just going, no, we're not doing that. So then we're starting to kind of spitball different locations. Now, this is an island that I'm on, and she goes, how about the beach? Which is,
And it's nighttime.
it's walking distance.
Okay. Yeah.
And I go, yeah, but I don't want sand in my ass. I
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to truly partake and relax
Yeah.
while you're giving me, mouth hugs, then
Yeah.
I'm going to,
You had an issue with the sand, right, Anakin?
Yeah, I did. And then she goes, let's go down to the first floor. There's a single person bathroom. And I go, okay. So she's like, you go ahead and go down there and I'll be down there in a minute. And I go, all right. So I go down there and then I hear a little faint tap on the door, open it up. She comes in the door, shuts the door, locks it, immediately turns out the light, and then she assumes the position. And then I immediately turn the light on. She goes, we don't want anybody to know that we're in here. And I'm sitting there going, are you letting me fully enjoy this, or do I have to do this under these?
And it's pitch black in there.
Yes, I'm sitting there going, all right. So, but yeah, that's not even the fun. The one that is still kind of seared into my brain was actually going to her room whenever, her roommates at work or whatever. She used to be bigger. So
This is a different girl.
this is the same girl.
Oh, okay.
That,
Okay.
Lisa was her name.
Right.
So she was maybe 5 feet tall, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 4'10".
Wow.
But she used to be like a sphere.
A big girl.
Yeah. And she lost a lot of weight.
Okay.
And
Oh no. There's a reason she didn't want that light on.
no, that's not that. That's not it.
Okay.
It's just that, so whenever we would have sex, like I'd never heard noises before. So whenever she and I were going at it, and I start hearing, I go, and what just again seared into my head is that she would turn around and look at me. And then look at me as if she's trying to perform her own laugh track. I'm sitting there like, I'm trying to focus. Yeah. Can you keep it together? Yeah. And just, and I'm going, how am I supposed to?
Oh,
My dick has PTSD at this moment, and I'm just going, what in the? And she, I don't know exactly what led up to this on her, but she let me know that she was basically sterile. So
okay.
I would not have to concern myself with prophylactics and, wearing a
pulling
condom.
out or
none of that stuff.
Yeah. So what was making the noise? Just her flaps of skin or
Just her queefing.
just queefing?
Yeah, she was queefing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there going,
Dude.
oh my God. So you'd always heard the term, but whenever it's actually
Yes.
on display,
Yes.
and you, all right, just no, man, focus.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
here for a reason.
Yeah.
Keep your game face on. You're not going to get distracted. You go in there and you finish that
Yeah.
goddamn
So how'd
job.
you get through it?
I just kept going, I guess. But there was another time, because I remember that distinctly being in my room, my barracks room, and then there was the time where where this that I'm speaking of. We're in her room, and we just had it set up so that she's just kind of hanging her lower half off of the couch, right?
Okay.
And I'm just kind of on my knees on the floor,
Yeah.
and we're just kind of going at it like that.
Yeah.
And it's just
It started up again?
we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah.
No. There's no noise in this
Oh, okay,
position.
okay.
But we're about to wrap it up, and then it's like, all right, here we go. It's time for the least satisfying fireworks display ever, and I finish, and then she gets up to go to the bathroom, whatever, and I look down on the floor, and I could just see what I deposited just decided to let gravity exit her.
Okay.
So
Falls out.
yeah, it just falls out.
Yeah.
And I go,
common.
well, this was, if it was, to me, again, this was just a complete culture shock to me.
Oh.
So I had never seen that before. I was just like,
All right.
I didn't know you could make the vagina yawn like that. Plop. What the she goes, oh, I'll just clean that up. And I go, in my head, I'm screaming like I'm in a horror movie, but in my face, I'm going, no, this is fine.
Yeah.
That meme, the thing on fire, and just, no, this is fine. I was just.
There was a guy that was a gay guy on your mom's house the other day.
Mateo Lane, talking
Yeah.
about anal douching. Yes.
Yes, I believe it is him. And I remember at one point he said, "Why do guys always feel the need to announce when they're getting ready to come?" And when he said that, that just struck me as so funny because it's true. It's true. I do it just about every time. I don't, but then you think about, well, why? Why do we do it?
Well,
and I think the reason is because you tell me your theory on it, but because that is like the pinnacle. That is like the most, for the guy, the absolute summit. It's like after
That's
this,
the goal.
After this,
That's the
we're
destination.
done. Like, yeah. So what's your theory on it?
My theory was that, whenever I was a young lad and I'm starting to get active, in that capacity, I just remember that if somebody decided they were going to go down on me, they wanted you let me know,
Right.
You let me know, okay? And I'm sitting there like, okay, I'll tell you.
And you always let them know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
As opposed to, you hear some dudes, I let her know. She could tell whenever I grabbed her ears and pulled her tight to me. And she started making these, please don't, gagging noise to try to get away. I was like, I would hear guys say that, and I go, you're an awful person.
That's funny. It reminds me of a story. We got, me and a buddy of mine got an escort one time. Way back in the late 90s. We got an escort. Can't remember her name. It doesn't matter.
No.
Jessica or I don't know. Just
You have a name? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was willing to do more than just escort.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
Right.
She was willing
She's
to
trying to get a bonus.
As you say, she was willing to do mouth hugs
Right.
on me and my buddy. And my buddy went first. And he, like an idiot.
Here's the Listerine before it's my turn.
Well, no, there was no kissing involved or anything.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. But he, like an idiot, when he was about to come, he announced it. And she immediately took it out of her mouth. Where's the fun in that?
No.
So, and then he's just left there with a belly,
Yeah.
a messy handful of goo.
Jimmy Carr, British comedian, he's like, we're going to play a game called Sticky Belly.
But then when it was my turn, I learned real quick. So
I'm sorry. I was relaxed. I was so in the moment. I was letting you just express yourself in this artistic art form of yours.
It took a lot for me to not show any signs on my face. Yeah. It took a lot.
Yeah, that's good, I guess.
And I didn't say anything, and she ended up getting a mouthful. And it was so great for me, not so great for her.
No.
But I was into that back then. It was a big thing for me, finishing in girls' mouths. That has no, it's just gross now. Like when I see it in porn and the girl's like, hey, look, I just swallowed it.
No, that's the part.
They're showing
That's the
it?
part. That's the part.
Gross.
And see, the facials and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then just mashing all you're doing is just opening and closing your mouth.
Yeah.
And just like,
that doesn't do a thing for me.
That's the receipt. You're showing me the receipt of y'all's transaction
Right.
of you and the pool boy.
Don't need to see that.
Or you and your stepbrother, whatever. But yeah, as soon as you just take that, if that's what you want to do after, because I had that asked to me one time. What do you want me to do with it? I don't care. It's out of me.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Well, some guys have kinks. They want you to do certain things.
You don't have to involve me at this point.
Or maybe spit it into a martini glass, have your girlfriend re-drink it, or
what?
So gross.
Because I've been with people that have just immediately just down the hatch.
Well, right, and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Like you put your wiener in there, do your business. You pull your wiener out; it should be clean, and I don't need to see anything.
Yeah.
If you want a little protein shake, that's great for you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but just
I don't need to see it. It's just ugh.
Yeah, because if you do that, You know the ending. You already know the way this is supposed to end.
Yeah.
So why would you get done, immediately take it out of your mouth, and you just go, blah?
Yeah.
What? Why? Why would you do that?
And then some girls, when they're given it, and when they really get into it, in the porns anyway, they will get the huge spit bubbles, and it's just they create this huge mess. And I don't need all that. I mean, I like a little bit. Like if you want to do the little line of saliva going from the bottom lip to the head of the penis, that's cool. But I don't need
It's a spider web.
Yeah, I don't need it to look like I just put Dawn dishwashing
dish
liquid.
soap,
There's bubbles. I don't need that, you know. The little line though is kind of sexy. It sort of reminds me of aliens when they're getting ready to bite you.
If you're just sitting there looking at it and you're like, such a lady.
Oh man. God, I'm trying to think if I have any other good stories I haven't shared with you. I'm sure I do. I've met quite a few celebrities. I met Elton John one time. I won concert tickets when I was on the Howard Stern show. He gave me 2 free tickets to the Rainforest. It was like a George Harrison Memorial Rainforest benefit concert at Carnegie Hall. Tickets were ridiculously expensive. I had better seats than Howard. Howard was there. I was like maybe 5 or 6 rows back. He was like maybe 12 rows back. And but in meeting Elton John, I think it was the dress rehearsal. I showed up for the dress rehearsal where all the performers just came out, and that's when you were allowed to go up to the stage, and I just reached up and he had little tiny hands. Elton John, you'd think, as a accomplished piano player, he had little tiny hands. But I got to shake his hand. That was kind of cool. A funny story about that particular concert is after the dress rehearsal, we all had to leave. They had to clear the auditorium, and then they let us back in when the actual show began. And for some reason, this is my Patti LaBelle story. Okay. Met Patti LaBelle, and this is how it happened. When I was 22 years old, I got kidnapped by the Russian mafia.
I was going to say, I got involved with the Russian mafia.
When I was 30 years old, I met Patti LaBelle, and this is how it happened. When we went outside, I didn't have anything to do. I had like maybe an hour to kill. So I was just walking around Carnegie Hall, walking around, looking at some of the restaurants and stuff around, and I happened to walk by a trash can, just an open trash can. And somebody, a lover's spat or something, there was a bouquet of flowers sitting on the top of the trash can, just a beautiful bouquet of flowers. It looked really nice. Somebody probably got mad, I don't want these flowers, and they just, this is for your whore! So I decided to pick up these flowers. They were in great condition. They looked fantastic. They were beautiful, a full bouquet of flowers. And I said, I got an idea. During the show, during this concert, I'm going to present these flowers. You know how they do it, like operas and stuff? I'm going to present these flowers
and then
to
they
somebody.
start getting thrown at them.
Yeah.
Bravo.
And I did not quite know who to give these to, because I didn't know everybody that was going to be performing. But then when Patti LaBelle came out, there was a lot of stars at this thing. James Taylor.
No, he's not a good rose recipient.
No. I don't think Sting was there. Elton John, Jeff Beck, a bunch of... anyway, so I'm sitting about sort of in the middle. You know how rows are set up. I would have to sort of scooch by a lot of people if I wanted to get up. Yeah. And when Patti LaBelle is almost done with her performance, I decided, okay, I'm going to give these flowers that I'm holding. I'm going to present them.
Excuse me.
Right, that's me. And I'm going to present them to Patti LaBelle. So, and the audience is full of celebrities too. Chelsea Clinton was there, Ellen Barkin, Howard Stern. I mean, it's a who's who of celebrities in this audience. And I decided to get up right at the end of this thing, and I walk all the way up to the stage, and I present them to her. She takes them from me. And I turn around to immediately go back to my seat. Everybody in the audience is sort of pointing to me to turn around and look up on stage. And Patti LaBelle is beckoning me back to the stage, because she wants me to do a little dance with her. Not up on the stage because it was way high, but she just wanted me to dance there in front of the stage, and she was dancing, and we were dancing together, and it was a magical moment, and everybody was laughing, and it was fun. I presented her flowers. She did a little dance with me. I went back to my seat. As I was getting back to my seat, security came up and said, "Sir, do not get out of your seat again." I don't know if maybe they were televising the show or something. They didn't want that. That's cool. That's fine. Went and sat back down. Me and Howard discussed all this on his show a few days later, too. He's like, "Oh, look at you up there dancing with Patti LaBelle, thinking you're a big shot and all that." But then here's the cool part. After the concert, all of us peasants go around back. All the artists are leaving out this back door, and they're signing autographs, taking pictures. The cell phone cameras weren't real big back then.
No.
So people had like the disposable cameras. Right. Everybody had the Razor, I think.
Yeah.
This one has 2 megapixels.
And everybody, you know, when Sting comes, I don't know, I don't remember if Sting was there or not. I think he might have been. I don't think Elton John came back, but anyway, there's different celebrities. But everybody's just trying to just quickly snap a picture or get them to sign anything. So then Patti LaBelle comes out, and she walks through the crowd, and she sees me, and I see her, and I say, "Hey, Patti, I'm the one who brought you the flowers." And she immediately comes over and gives me this huge hug. And people are around us don't understand what's going on. They like, why is Patti LaBelle just hugging?
Who the hell's this dude?
Right. So it was kind of cool. I felt really important and special for a moment because I gave Patti LaBelle flowers from the
gesture,
trash.
and it sounds as though it just caught her at the right moment.
Yeah.
So,
but if she had known that I had taken those flowers out of the trash,
Why are you saying this right now?
well, it doesn't matter. She's got the sweet potato.
You're kind of throwing things up for yourself, dude.
I'm going to take a piss break. And
All right.
If you want to continue to talk or whatever, and it's best if you continue to talk because if I stop recording, it's going to be an editing nightmare. So just talk, tell the story, a joke, something. I'll be right back.
All right, I can do that. All right, so while he's gone, I'm just going to stare here into this solo camera. You kind folks over here. Hey, that's my hand. That's me right there. Okay, I don't even know what that voice is, so I believe that was an old cartoon. Why am I messing with the mic right now? I don't know, because I'm trying to do something that's not in my normal wheelhouse. Is that what you would say at this moment? Oh my God! Are you frying chicken in there? God, that's some loud piss. I can't hear a thing. I got my headphones on, so yeah, this is just nonsensical stuff. Do you like my unaffiliated soda? It's a diet soda of some sort. I need some caffeine, so that's why I'm drinking this. So, he had mentioned something the last time that we got together where he remarked about my burping. So I was going to actually get a burp off into the microphone. So I'll take a big chug, and then I'll add to it my own fuel, and then we'll.
Am I participating in this?
Can you burp on command, or you get a little fuel?
It will help if I have a soda, and I'm sure you're going to kill it because I'm. Go ahead if you're ready.
All right, that's the soda part.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Working up a good one.
All right, here we go.
That was pretty good.
Yay.
That was pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it would win a competition for Alpha Kappa Alpha, but, but that was good.
Mine's
going to be pathetic compared to that.
There's an actual contest.
Oh, I'm sure.
In Italy.
I was thinking
Italy.
For sure it was going to be in Japan.
In Italy.
Okay.
It's called Ruto sound. RUTTO. In the word sound, Ruto sound, because I guess Ruto is whenever you're belching.
Yeah.
There's another sound that you can make, and I guess that's admissible as a burp. I'll put this back because I moved it whenever you stepped out. And if you can take air in and you get it to make your, I'm not certain of the anatomy of the throat and everything like that, but you can make a noise. if you get it to that where you're kind of making a sound like when you inhale, but you can get it to the point where it's just going like a single beat, like you're really, really slowing it down, and it's just a dot, 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 dot. That's the sound that it makes. I heard guys in that competition doing that noise.
So it wasn't a real burp.
It wasn't a real burp.
No.
So some people see if you're doing the Sprite challenge, or if you're doing a soda or a beer or whatever it is. Well, you got to use. I got to a point where I just wanted to make the loudest possible sound that I could, and sometimes it would just be for a second or two or three or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some guys that can do that for a good 5 to 10 seconds, where it's just rah.
And it's not a real burp.
No, it's real.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Those guys are legit. But then you got the ones that you hear, and they're going for length because they've got different categories in this, pageant for dues. Loudness, length, and
girth.
Speaking. They like to talk about the different words that you can use.
Yes. Say the alphabet.
So there's actually a group of belching and things like that I joined on Facebook and everything like that. And one guy has a Guinness Book of World Records entry. He's like the administrator of this group.
Okay.
And he based in England. He's done television appearances. Wow. Yeah. And I go, what? And I recently saw, hey, good luck to all the people that are going to be in Rudo Sound. And because some dude found me who lives in Chile.
Found you?
Found me.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was just Facebook or Instagram. I don't know how, but he just found something and saw me doing burps or whatever. And then he started to reach out to me and just hit me with just messages. And I'm just going, what? It's just it's like a distant, like an international stalker kind of a thing. And I just got to a point where I was going, all right, I'm getting a little, and so he started telling me about, the Rudo Sound competition. You ought to do it. Hey, hit
you have
me
to
up.
go to Italy to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, hey, let's do let's do a burping competition. And can I just sit on my couch and watch what I'm watching and just not have to explain that to my wife and my children?
Oh my God.
What are you doing? There's a dude and he's in South America and he wants to do a burping competition with me. What's weird about that, bro? So it's some things about that have just unfolded, in front of my eyes, and I just go, this is surreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy is as laughable as it is, and I don't just openly, I'm in a burping Facebook group. I don't, tout myself as that or anything. And so whenever I'm filming, putting out whatever stupid content I'm doing on TikTok or whatever, and invariably, if I'm happy with it, I'll share it to Instagram. I'll get replies or something like that. I miss your burping videos.
Really?
Get me more fucking followers.
How many followers do you have on TikTok?
I don't think I've gotten up 500 yet. Because I was trying to years ago, back whenever the Twitter thing and people to do hashtag stuff was a big deal. At midnight on Comedy Central was massive. He was the one that introduced, hey, let's play the hashtag game and stuff like that. Then I started getting into different little groups that would start to get into these little competitions. There's a dude that has his own app where you can find what hashtag games are going on and just sync it up with your Twitter and everything like that. And my pinned tweet to this day on my Twitter account, the hashtag was I dumped Taylor Swift because.
Okay.
Right. And my joke was, I don't want to misquote myself, so I'll actually, cite my own shit. I dumped Taylor Swift because I thought Shake It Off was very offensive to people with Parkinson's. So, and that by far got the most amount of likes and retweets and everything like that. And then there were legitimately people that were angry with me because I'm just making a joke.
You have to be very careful nowadays.
I'm just making a joke because this was, I already closed it out, but this was back in like 2016. And so she had a new album. So clearly someone just got dumped.
Right.
So clearly she just got out of a relationship.
Yeah.
That was the running gag. And so I said that with zero malice behind it.
Right.
You know, you don't say that about, ugh, come on.
It's just the world we live in,
No,
man.
it's just.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, and that's why I'm as grateful as I am about everybody in my family. It's just if you take yourself too seriously, you're gonna have a bad day because someone's gonna roast you about something.
Good old Jeff Ross, right? King, boy, he's cool.
Yes,
But as far as burping goes, I can burp on command. They're never very powerful. They're just regular burps. There used to be a guy, I don't know if you ever saw him on the Stern Show, who would go on there and he could just fart. I think his record 140 sometimes in a row. And
excuse me,
what he would do is he would sit he'd sit on his back, like almost like his,
and he would dilate. He would let his sphincter open up and pull in air.
And I used to be able to do that when I was a kid. When I was maybe young teenager.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do that. I could just lay on my back, roll myself back into a ball, and just fart continuously.
Yeah, as if you're trying to, polish yourself off. I'm not that bendy, but
I used to be able to do that, but I can't. No. I've not had that ability.
I would walk around looking like a human question mark if I could do that. You used to be so tall. Yeah, but my mouth is dry.
Can you imitate the Predator?
That's the noise. Remember I told you about that?
Yeah. Can you do it?
No,
I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. During this podcast, I'm going to teach Greg how to do the Predator sound.
I'm intrigued.
All right, here we go. Do you remember Roy Orbison?
Yes.
Pretty Woman? Mm-hmm. And do you remember the part of the song where he makes that noise?
Yeah, he does.
What does he do?
He does.
All right, you're halfway there. Mm-hmm. You're halfway there. What you need to do, you know how you can make your mouth move and say hello. Mm-hmm. You can disengage your vocal cords where it's just hello, hello. You're not using your vocal cords. Mm-hmm. So you do the Roy Orbison row. Mm-hmm. Don't make any sound come out. Just do it quietly. Go. I'm going to silence it in the middle.
Damn.
That's it. You can do it. Let me hear you try it.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, here we go. Never really been put. Hey, do this now. That's awesome.
And it's also similar if you're doing Chewbacca. Can you do a good Chewbacca?
Yeah, I don't know if it's good. I could do it.
Mine's fair. That's pretty good. The thing with Chewbacca, when you're doing the Predator, you're breathing out. You're breathing out. When you do Chewbacca, you're inhaling.
Oh, I was exhaling on mine.
And you're doing the same thing, except you're just doing it inhaling.
Yeah, it just limits the amount that you can do it.
Right.
Based on if he's yelling at Han or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, and then there's going back to queefing.
Yes.
Queef story. Man,
yes.
I think I remember the first time I encountered that, and man, I could not get it together. I could not stop laughing.
No.
Because to me, fart humor, Jack Vale that has a little pooter machine. He does the videos where he goes into Walmart and he has the little fake fart machine.
Right.
It kills me. I can watch this stuff for hours and to see how people react.
Yeah, it's the reactions.
And I have tried to go into Walmart before.
Damn, man, you have Chipotle?
I've tried to go in there and fart before, but I can't keep a straight face. I lose my mind. Like, you're going to immediately know it was me because that dude's hysterically laughing at himself because he just farted. And the first time I encountered queefing, I could not get it together. It was so funny. I wanted it to continue because it was making me laugh, but I wanted it to stop because I wanted to finish.
Yes.
And it's
right
just
now, I need to do less of this and more of this. Let me punch the mic. It's like I've never done this before.
Punch the mic, you dumbass.
I'm going to go...
you're going to hit the head?
I'm going to empty my bladder as well. So.
All right, yeah, go for it. We're just at the 2-hour mark, so we can go on, we can continue on, or we can wrap it up, whatever you want to do.
I've allotted 3 hours.
I'm trying to think of a story that I could tell real quick while he isn't here. Once again, this podcast is brought to you today by Digital DJs of Hampton Roads. That's ddjhr.com. And it's sort of a one-man, self-run business that I started. And I've been putting off starting a podcast for years. And because of all the equipment that I have now and all the microphones and everything, I just decided to get it going. But my full-time job, and I'm fortunate to be able to say that, not a lot of people who DJ do it full-time. But I owe that mainly to my residency at the club that I DJ at 4 nights a week. I'm actually DJing there tonight. I'm doing karaoke. But we do karaoke, we do trivia, we do things as huge as city events, conventions, wedding receptions, of course, private parties, corporate parties, birthdays, everything. And DJing is a lot of fun. It really is. It's another line of work where you get to see all kinds of people from all different walks of life. And, it's opened my mind up musically, too. There's stuff that I wouldn't even give a second listen to or even give a chance. But, new songs, too. New songs that I discover, hey, can you play this song? And I listen to the song, and it actually turns out to be really good. Like Post Malone. I had not heard of Post Malone until I saw him on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Did you ever see that episode where Post Malone and Jimmy Kimmel go to Olive Garden? Mm-mm. And they're sitting there enjoying the unlimited soup, salad, breadsticks, and Jimmy presents Post with a certificate. And what it is, they have purchased the legal rights to the expression, when you're here, you're family. That is no longer Olive Garden's copyrighted, registered catchphrase or whatever you want to call it.
Slogan, yeah.
It now legally belongs to Post Malone because Jimmy Kimmel and their people bought it because Olive Garden was dropping it anyway. Now now Olive Garden's is
when you hear your family.
No, they changed it. It's now we're all family here.
Oh,
we're all family.
Did
here.
I just repeat what
You
you
just
said?
repeated
Is no longer.
Yeah.
Great attention, great listening skills,
But
Greg.
I had never heard of Post Malone until this episode. And then I started checking him out, and I actually like Post Malone. I really dig his music. And if you ever, there's a video of him going into like guitar centers and just sort of jamming out and playing. He's actually a very accomplished.
He's a really good musician.
Yes.
Just overall,
he
it's
is.
like Beck, same thing.
Yeah.
Beck's early work, I remember hearing like a Loser and a couple things, just because it was played ad nauseum. I didn't like the artist. It's not the artist. It's the repetition that I couldn't stand, right?
Yeah.
Because I heard some of his later stuff, and I go, that's good. Because it didn't give it the same amount of constantly in your face top 40 shit that they constantly did. No. I recently saw somebody had him, I don't know where this was done, but Post Malone was doing a cover of Alice in Chains' Rooster.
Yeah.
And I went, oh,
It was good.
shit.
Really good.
Because I was like, that's my wheelhouse of that 92, because a little bit after that is whenever, I guess it's Lane Staley, overdosed or whatever.
That was in 2002. He overdosed.
It was that late?
Yeah, because I remember Howard. I listened to the Howard Stern show all the time, and I remember he broke the. Well, let's double check. Can you ask your phone what year did he die? I could be wrong.
Sure.
Maybe they were just talking about it, and it had happened.
Hey Siri, when did Lane Staley
Oh,
die?
crap. I hope you're not gonna. I hope my phone doesn't answer.
April 5, 2002.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. Because that was around the same time I went to that Rainforest concert.
Wow. I thought it was like, because it was like Kurt Cobain 94. I was overseas. and because they had just done the Unplugged, and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And then so him and then the dude from Blind Melon and then a couple other celebrities. It was just like, yuck.
Yeah.
And then some lesser known alternative, grunge type, singers that I may not have known, but it affected, and then later on you see dudes like Chris Cornell, the dude from Linkin Park, what's his name, Chester Bennington.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You just go, all the fame, all the wealth and everything like that, notoriety, and still something's not right with your head.
Amy
And
Winehouse?
You just go, wow.
Tina Turner died recently.
Yeah, but
So hers wasn't drug related.
no, hers was not a, let's put an end to this kind of a thing.
My mother, there was the only concert I ever went to in my life with my mother.
Was
We
Tina
went to
Turner.
see Tina Turner back when Beyond Thunderdome, the movie, came out, and she did a tour, and she was amazing. And I probably at the time did not appreciate Tina Turner as much as I do now because I was like a teenager, and I thought it was a little square to go to a concert with your mom, and anybody that mom wanted to see wasn't that hip. It was years later I realized that she was amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that because I remember seeing her, I think.
Oh, you saw her too?
No, I didn't see her
oh.
in concert, but I remember watching a doc about her.
Yeah.
And I saw the timeline of her career arc, and there was just a big lull where whatever the reasoning was, where she wasn't really out in the forefront, and then she finally got What's Love Got to Do with It, and then she started doing a couple more things, and you go, damn. Yeah. And then for some people, it's either you're joking about her hair, for whatever reasons, because that was always the joke every time.
Sort of like Rod Stewart.
The fireworks, like, oh, her hair, the fireworks right there look like Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Or you could say the same thing about Rod Stewart, but then the more luring guys would be always talking about her legs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Her legs. Okay, keep my distance from that guy. But he's going to end up being on a display case, kind of finishing himself off in a porn shop, in a few years. But it's just sometimes you see somebody and they're super talented, and they just go away for a little while, and you just never know what the fuck if they're dealing with their contract or lawyers or rights or. I just never know. Excuse me.
In the early 90s, early to mid 90s, I went to the Hampton Jazz Festivals, the one and only time before it became the Hampton R&B Festival, which it kind of is now. There's not really a lot of jazz there.
No.
But I went with my dad and stepmother to, and it was an amazing year. It was an amazing night. I think it's usually like 3 nights, and we happened to go when the performers were the Manhattan Transfer, the Count Basie Orchestra, and Ella Fitzgerald. Wow. I actually got to see Ella Fitzgerald, and she wasn't even in a wheelchair yet. I think she just sat on a stool. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe they wheeled her out in a wheelchair, but they propped her up on a stool for her to sing, and she was scatting, and it was just amazing. Just amazing.
Manhattan Transfer.
I don't know.
Is that the same band that sang Morning Train?
I don't know that. They do Wacky Dust, Birdland. I know their one album like the back of my hand. I've listened to it since I was a kid, but they were good. I don't want to say they're doo-wop. They're just a big time vocal group. They do some good Christmas songs. If you don't know who they are, I can't think of how to. You could pull them up on your music and see what their most popular hit is, and you might
biggest hit
ring a bell. I don't know.
Boy from New York City.
Do I, ooh, I, ooh, I did it. Talk about the boys from New York City.
Because I could have sworn there was one song that went, "My baby takes the morning train," and me
baby takes the morning
having, being from this area, where when you hear train, you're thinking of Amtrak.
Right.
Okay, so that's what my brain is at whatever my age was, 6, 7, 8.
They were talking about the subway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, this guy hops on a train, like you see kind of romanticized in like cartoon form.
Yeah.
Bye. It's a bon voyage. It's a big thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not a commuter rail.
just going to
You
work.
just don't know. No, I'm just hopping on this thing instead of driving a car.
Right.
To take another home again, and I go, what? So yeah, there's some of the phrasing and everything like that, and just not having the being exposed to that environment, your brain is kind of conjuring up just different alternate realities.
I've never been on a real train in my life. Never. I've been on the subway hundreds of times, but never a real train.
Yeah, I was dating a girl for a while, and I dropped her off at the Amtrak station. I did take a Greyhound bus.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever it was my turn to visit her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Those can be a bit uncomfortable. Greyhounds.
yeah. Well, Greyhound is like Walmart on wheels. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna stay to myself. And
My big experience with Greyhounds was in 1991. They survived as soldiers of fortune, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A team. I don't know why.
Yes,
but in
they won't actually kill anyone, but they will shoot a lot of bullets.
In 1991, I took a Greyhound bus. This is shortly a year after high school. I decided I was going to go out to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Be a big star.
yeah,
In 1991, I took a Greyhound bus from Hampton or Newport News all the way to Los Angeles.
Did they use your footage of your travel in the Welcome to the Jungle video for GNR?
No. But that was quite a road trip. It took 3 days to get there.
Yeah.
On and off, making all kinds of stops and transfers and encountering all kinds of people.
Darker night, and you're going by the cargo hold, and then they'd hand you, throw out all these bags, and you'd see yours, and you grab it real quick before somebody else ran off with it.
And then the same, I only was maybe out there for a week. I lasted a week, maybe. Got on a Greyhound bus, came back another 3 days. Fast forward 2 years to 1993. I decided I'm going to give it another shot. Get on a Greyhound bus, take it all the way out to Hollywood. This time I last about 2 months. I actually get a job. I'm a night manager of a motel off of Hollywood Boulevard. And I don't know. I didn't last that only 2 months, and then I got on a Greyhound bus and came back again. This time my mom sent me money to come back. I really think it was. Oh, you know what? I think it was like $300 to take a Greyhound bus in 1993. So that was quite, boy. I got some stories from the road there. And then 1999, I finally got my life together a little bit. I go out to Hollywood again. This time I fly.
Oh,
Yeah,
big baller.
And I actually just go out there for call it a business trip.
Yeah.
And then I was only out there for 2 or 3 days and flew back, and that was much better. And it only took like 8 hours, I think. But I'm sorry to do this to you, man. I've got to pee. I have diabetes.
Okay.
And that is why I do have to pee again. So
No harm done, sir.
not even 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'll get back to the chat. It's my hand again. Here's my hand. Okay. I guess I can check to see if I got any kind of. I'm going to be seeing the skin cancer doctor here shortly, so maybe they can. What's that spot? I was playing golf yesterday with my son, and I don't know how I got a damn scratch, as if I stuck my hand into like a rose bush or some shit. I don't know what happened there. So I see my son walking down the fairway, and I go, hey, I don't know how they got this. Just a small little scab. I'm not complaining, so please don't send me a bunch of hate mail and stuff. This dude asked me to come here and stuff and start talking into a microphone or something. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Cut it out, bunghole. God damn it, boy. So I thought we were just gonna fuck around and do a bunch of stupid voices or something.
I can do Hank Hill. It's not a lot. Most of my thing, because I was in the voiceover industry for 15 years, which was a great job. It was an incredibly easy job. It was incredibly fun. And the reason I got out of it is because, believe me, I'd still be doing it today because I have an amazing voice. as you can hear.
Yeah. And you also are super modest, and I love that.
Yeah. But the only reason I got out of it is because the audio/video now production company that I worked for is located all the way out in Virginia Beach. And I hate driving over there. It takes forever. You always hit traffic. And you what it would say, hey, we have an audition for you. They'd call you up. You have an audition. So I don't have a studio in my home. So I drive all the way out to Virginia Beach to do, and maybe by the time I get there, maybe another audition has come down the chutes and I can maybe knock out a couple of auditions.
Right.
You drive all the way back home and they can call you and say, hey, guess what? You got the job. Come on back and let's record the session. Or, hey, we got another audition for you. Come on back and do. I can't do that. I can't just drive back and forth from Hampton to Virginia Beach, back and forth and back and forth. So eventually, that was the major issue with that. And so eventually I sort of set up a makeshift
At-home studio?
I don't even want to call it a studio. I went into my closet.
Setup.
And
That's because
with clothes.
some of the guy that's doing the Arnold voice on the deep fakes, Joe Goddett, he actually documented how he constructed his own setup of his downstairs. He lives in Connecticut, so he has a basement. So he turned that into like a home office / gym, and then you could see the actual space. It's just enough to stand in with just the camera, the mic, whatever the laptop is that he's using, and then I think a couple of mics. And he just does everything from his house. Yeah. And I just go, and then I'm seeing several creators that are like, this is how you do voiceover work from home. And I've seen different places that I can go on different websites, and you can just put in for, hey, this company is asking for this much, and they're offering to pay this much, and just, all right. So, and then occasionally I'll see somebody who's posting a challenge. Now, my limitation is I've got this with whatever kind of mics and then, Bluetooths and stuff like that. So I don't really I have a mic like this, similar to, this, but as far as any other actual equipment is where I'm, and I'm kind of, in a deficit in that regard. But I told my wife, I was like, that's one thing that I would like to do is if it gets to the point, if my body starts breaking down, because I've had, 3 knee surgeries on one knee and then 1 knee surgery on the other knee, with the job. It
would be a great second income for you, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I could give you all the advice in the world of how to do it. One thing that's good about you is that you don't have any discernible accent.
Right.
That is a plus.
Right. I hear people that are from here, and I go, where are you from? Yeah. And they may say, I do the wash, or
I'm going to go park the car.
Water. Just there's certain words that you could just hear.
Yep.
Now that doesn't sound right.
So it's good to not have any sort of accent, but to be able to turn on any kind of an accent. Right. Be able to listen and then mimic it. I remember my big thing was I never said GET. I never said that word right. I always said get. Like, go get out of here now, get.
That's funny right there. I don't care who you are. That's funny right there.
But they would always correct me and say, Chris, say get. It's get.
Yes.
Get out of here. I would
get out of here.
Get. When you're just talking casually and quickly, go on, get out of here.
Go on now, get.
and I say y'all and I say ain't.
Yes.
But I had a pretty successful career with them. Eventually, so they would just email me auditions.
Right.
But it would be so sporadically throughout the day, 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, guess what? I got to go home and to do an audition. And it was just eating up my day. And I think because my studio from home didn't sound that great, eventually I just sort of gave up on it. I was like, this isn't really working for me. I wasn't getting called for jobs a lot. And I just couldn't keep coming home or stop whatever I was doing. I got to go do an audition. It just, I don't know. Maybe if I had lived much closer to the place, I could just go in.
Again, one of the things that kind of drew me in with him, it was, initially seeing he's perfected doing the impression of Arnold.
Yeah.
And and he's done the perfection of Michael J. Fox, his favorite actor.
You think he's perfected that?
Michael J. Fox?
I'm going to have to listen to that sometime.
Michael J. Fox? He does him. He does I believe, Doc Brown. He does Ryan Reynolds. There's quite a few that he does, and you just go. And there's a couple people that tout themselves to be able to do X, impression X, and you could tell that that's what they're doing. But for me, like I can see what's your bread and butter. Like for him, it's seriously, it's Arnold, and that's how he got that red carpet invite. Him and it's Brian Monarch, the guy who does the deep fake stuff. They got invited for the FUBAR premiere and everything like that.
Oh, is that right?
They were.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because he had the puppet.
Because he was doing the puppet,
Right,
so
right,
I guess
right,
he was doing that on the side to
Arnold.
because he wanted to be able to do that in front of him, but he didn't want to just be hi. It's me.
Right.
And so he's like, yeah, let's just have this little, and it's weird because they don't have it as Terminator Arnold, or they don't have it as Commando Arnold,
right,
or Kindergarten Cop Arnold. They have it as current Arnold, which is old and gray hair, gray beard hair, and it's just on a puppet. You just go, that's something. Get it back to wearing the bullets on your shoulders and your chest, have it like, it's very over the top. It's, I don't want it to be the one that's, a little bit more discerning. I want it to be, but he could do all the yelling, and then he could sing as him. And
what did Arnold, when he was doing it right there in front of Arnold, what was Arnold's reaction?
He was just going with it.
Yeah.
He was just going along with it.
Because I mean, a lot of times when you impersonate somebody in front of them, they're like, I don't sound like that.
Yes, because I've done impressions of people in front of them or in front of their husband. Because there was this girl that I worked with, and she had this really slow kind of. She was from Tennessee, and she sounded like this, and I don't sound like that. Okay. Everybody else in the building hears you, hears me, and they go, I know who you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one instance where I was, loading her truck for her. And she comes in the work, and she goes, I need you to load this. This is too heavy for me. I can't lift it. And I go, okay.
Does she still work there?
No, she's since retired.
Okay.
And so and mind you, I'm 6'5". And she is all of maybe 5'4", just small.
Yeah.
A strong wind will knock her over. And so I threw it up there about chest high for her, which is about chest high for me, which is about head high for her. That package that you threw on there the other day, it was too high for me. I had to have Todd come over and help me.
They asked Todd for everything.
And I was like, well, fine. I just won't help your ass with it. I just won't help your ass
Unappreciative.
again. And then she goes, well, that's just fine. So she instantly hit my sass with another layer of sass.
Yeah.
So then there was
you should have said, I just won't help you anymore.
I just won't do that. But there's another person that works there.
Currently?
Who is still there.
Uh-oh, here we go.
He has the most distinct voice you've ever heard. Okay. So I happened to do at the time with the guy working across the belt from me, because we were there from like 4 a.m. until 9, whenever everything's completely finished, and then you can leave and go on to your other job or whatever. And this guy's voice, he's got a really, really distinct deep voice like this. And so I started doing an impression of an alternate reality of those two in, the throes of passion, and just being sick and depraved and everything like that. And I did that to the wrong person.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, oh, yes, just give it to me. Just don't be so hard. I'm going to put it in your ass and you're going to like it and shut the fuck up. And so I said it to this one person.
You did it to the guy.
I said it to a different person. Okay. And he goes, oh, well, that guy would destroy her. He would split her in half. And I'm intrigued, and I go, what makes you say that? He goes, oh, this is essentially...
How does he know?
Sorry. This is essentially what this dude is packing down there.
How does he know?
Precisely what I thought of. Well, there was a time where he would come to work and he would ride his bike and he would get, full hardcore Lycra and biker shorts and all the stuff that looks like it's cellophane, and then they put on the heat to adhere it to your body.
Yeah.
And I guess he had enough of a distinctive bulge that this guy was like, okay, I'm going to remember that for later. Why are you taking inventory of my man's meat over there? Hey, if that's what you got, more power to you, bless you.
But you got in trouble for?
No.
Oh, okay.
I started like, what in the fuck are you? Why are you checking out and fully examining this dude's anatomy? And so then I said, hey, I mentioned this, doing these two voices to him. And then he goes, oh yeah, he would split her in half. He goes, oh yeah. And I go, oh shit, you're part two of this fucked up, reality. You're checking out his shit too. He goes, yeah, man, he used to fucking come in and he's working and all this shit. I'm going, what is happening? Am I the only one that's just keeping my eyes? I'm at the urinal, and if somebody stands at the urinal next to me, I'm just,
Yep. I don't even like
everywhere here. And then as long as you don't start, straying sideways, I'm just giving them their space and their privacy. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all. Has nothing to do with me or any kind of phobia that you want to impart upon me. And I'm sitting there like, God damn, these two motherfuckers are sitting there just straight up meat gazing at old boy. And then I remember another time I'm going to meet another driver. I had to take him some work or whatever. And I started talking about this. I said, yeah, I mentioned, and these two dudes were like, oh yeah. And then his head sinks and he was defeated. And I go, not you too. And he goes, listen, dude. I go upstairs to go to the bathroom, and I open up the door, and we both have in mind exactly the layout of the way the bathroom is set up.
Right.
And I guess he's standing at the urinal, and he's doing it like he's got a fucking trophy to display. So he's not standing like the rest of us. He's just like this. And I guess if I was blessed the same way, I may have done the same way
was
too.
Was this a black guy?
No.
Really?
No, this is just a dude who is just straight up got a ham candle down there, and I go,
Lucky
wow,
son of a gun.
yeah, and I go, that's fine, but these two are immediately just looking for it, whereas the other guy, he happened to be, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
He just looked and oh shit.
Yeah.
You can't fault that guy, but I just remember hearing these guys going, oh yeah, and I go, you need to evaluate yourself, buddy.
When I go to the bathroom, I try to. Sometimes you can't do it. Your peripheral vision. I don't want to see anything wiggling.
No, I want no movement. Stay still.
No, yeah,
No.
I don't want to catch it even in my peripheral.
No,
Never in a million years.
And if I have the ability to, I'll go to an open stall. Because of my height, and if like at work, if it's hot and I'm wearing shorts and everything like that, guess what? Splash is going to happen, and you're going to have something on your knees or on your legs, and you're fuck. Now I feel disgusting. So I'd rather go in there and just make the sound like I'm frying chicken.
Have you ever noticed that some guys, when they go pee, especially in a toilet as opposed to a wall urinal, they sort of, I don't know, I think they might be self-conscious about how loud their pee is hitting the water.
I think I would do that whenever I would, if let's say I wasn't trying to wake up somebody. If I'm at my house, I'm sitting down to do everything.
Really?
Everything. Because
man, she's got you trained.
No,
huh?
no, nothing about that.
Yeah.
I remember my dad telling me it's better for your prostate. And I remember hearing this at an early age. If you sit down, guess how much cleanup there is? And I go, none. There's no splatter. There's no splash. And I go, oh yeah. So I kind of taught myself at an early age, if it's an ass-friendly toilet, if it's my room or, parents, in-laws or something like that, that I know things have been cleaned and everything like that, I'm sitting down. Because I had one time where I had to find a toilet in an emergency, and I did not build a nest. I did not put down an ass gasket, you know, a paper
Toilet
barrier.
paper. Yeah.
I didn't do any of that.
Oh, no.
And I happened to be at an outlet mall in Foley, Alabama, and I get, you know, and just something was desperate to get out of me.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
All right. And which is no surprise to anyone that truly knows me. Is like, as soon as we get done eating, my wife wants to go somewhere. No, we're going home. That's where we're going.
Oh, do you have a problem with public?
No, it's not having a problem. It's just, I know that I don't have a lot of time. Hey, let's go milling about. No, I just ate food, and whenever I eat food, I tend to eat to the point where I'm full.
Yeah.
Not to the point where if I'm going to go out to eat and I'm going to spend money, I'm not going to eat until I'm not hungry. I'm going to eat until I'm full.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So then my wife's like, oh, let's get a Walmart, let's get a Target, let's get a Bed Bath & Beyond. Or, you know, whatever. And it's like, oh, geez. And then she would get upset with me where, you know, hey, you know where I'm going. This isn't our first date.
Yeah.
You know me, okay?
Right.
So back to the outlet mall in Alabama. The girl I'm with at the time, I believe it was her and her brother, and I was in a panic and I had to go and relieve myself. And then a couple days later, I was getting out of the shower and I noticed something downstairs, and I'm like, what is that? And then I start, you know, picking away with what, and
Are you talking about your ass cheek or your wiener?
I'm talking about my pubes.
Okay.
I got something in my pubes, and I'm going, what is this?
Oh no, like a little crustacean.
What is this? It's like, holy shit. Oh my God. Because I held it up to the glass, and I'm able to see little motherfucker was just angry, like, put me back down.
Oh my God.
And
I've never seen one of those in real life.
And I called her up immediately angry, just fuming.
Oh my God.
What the fuck did you do? Who you been fucking? Who you been fucking?
Yeah.
Just all kinds of accusatory in my voice. Who you been fucking? She's like, I haven't been fucking anybody but you. And I go, why in the fuck is this happening?
Yeah.
She's like, who you been fucking? I said, nobody. It's just you.
I didn't know they could jump. What was the condition of this bathroom?
It
was a mall.
Yeah, it was just a regular old outlet mall, and just not well taken care of enough for me to just sit bare ass. And then,
but you had to go.
I had to go.
Jesus.
So yeah, they were just like, okay, let's climb on here. And then I went and got some, shampoo for that, and then I went ahead and just.
Where do you get shampoo for that? Is that something you have to get from your doctor?
No, you got to go to like CVS or something like that.
Oh my God! I did not realize.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think it was just Rid.
Rid
was just the name of it. I think that's what it was called. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, that's pubic lice or whatever.
I need to go into CVS and say, I have pubic crabs.
Pubic lice.
Pubic lice. Just asking for that.
No.
How do you even ask for that? You have to sort of. I would walk around that store
you have
for
to
3
swallow your
hours.
pride. Yeah, it's not something that you're boastful about. Guess who got some? Actually, I didn't. I just
and how many times
took a
did you
shit
shampoo
at a
one time and then they're gone? Or
yeah, but I took additional measures. Like I went ahead and just. Does the carpet match the drapes? No, I went linoleum floor on this bitch.
Yeah,
I was just like, no, we're gonna make this fucker bald. Which is such a whole nother different little. That's a whole different shock to your system with the POV there.
I have pooped in stand up against the wall urinals 2 times in my life. I pooped in the urinals.
Wow!
I'll tell you about each one. One time I went to a furniture store.
Yeah.
And we bought some furniture. And the furniture, we found out later, was put together very cheaply with staple guns or whatever. It just started to fall apart on us. And I went back to the furniture store and I said, listen, there's some kind of warranty on this, right? And they're like, only if you burn it with a cigarette, or she just started giving me these weird instances. And I said, well, so if I go home and burn it with a cigarette now, then you'll replace it? And they're like, no, because you just said you'd do that. And so I was pissed. And I happened to have to poop. And so I said, okay. And I made my monthly payment on the furniture back when we did that. And I went into their bathroom. And I decided, and you've got to be quick when you do this. You have got to be quick because you don't want anybody walking in. Those urinals are just out in the open. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I very quickly deposited a substantial log in the stand-up urinal. That was me paying this furniture store back for not honoring their warranty.
This is what you think of me? All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond in kind.
Yeah. And then the second time was at City Hall. Right here. And I don't know why I did it. I just thought it would be a funny gag, a funny goof. And I don't know. Oh, I think I was there applying for some sort of permit. I don't remember what it was. Maybe a pool or something. And I just decided, again, you have to be very quick. If you have somebody, there's a lot of people of great importance in that building. Yeah. If somebody walks in on you and you get your butt hanging over the urinal. But I did it.
You're going to be doing some paperwork.
I deposited a log. I mean, you could always play ignorance. You could always play Randy Quaid for Kingpin.
I know, man.
Remember Kingpin?
Yeah.
Remember when he's sitting on a stand-up wall urinal. And then there's one other funny story I want to tell you real quick, and then I think we probably should wrap it up because I just don't want to run out of time on anything.
I got you.
I went over to a friend's house. His name's Dave. I won't say his last name. And it's not a good idea to keep a litter box, a cat box, in your bathroom. I decided to play the ultimate prank, and I heard like George Clooney or somebody on the Tonight Show telling that they had done this, and this is where I got the idea. I decided to take and it happened to be a massive log, and I pooped right in the litter box. And
fuck you been feeding this cat?
Right. I would have given money. So it turns out years later, or weeks or months later, I said, hey, what happened? Did Dave go in there and see that? I think I may have partially buried it, so it wasn't obvious it was a giant turd just sitting on top of everything.
Oh, man.
And it turns out his wife is the one who cleaned the box. And so his wife is the one, I don't know if she was completely alone or if she went and got Dave and said, Dave, you've got to see this. This is not right. This turd is almost as big as the cat. This is physically, biologically impossible.
Torn rotator cuff.
So I have actually pooped in a cat litter box.
You immediately, I thought immediately that you did the upper deck. Where you poop in the tank?
Oh no, I've heard of that, but
I haven't done that myself, but I've heard of people doing that. Yeah. But Rich's other friend, who I've known my whole life, Mike, he told me about whenever he worked up at Busch Gardens and stuff, and he actually worked in the Fest House.
Yeah,
he told me that somebody, as their kind of calling card. As their FU to it's clearly their exit.
Yeah.
And
sure.
He, instead of doing his business in the toilet, he did it so it was like kind of across the toilet.
So it was like
it was just like on the seat. In and then on the other side of the of
that's
the
a
seat.
lot of turd.
It's not like I'm not talking solid.
Okay.
This looked like he took a thing of Hershey's syrup and just went.
Oh God!
And
ew. That's got to be disgruntled employees do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, but then you're I don't know, something up to me.
And it's such a guy thing.
A
girl would never.
Yeah. Yeah, like you wouldn't hear about a woman just taking, her lady flaps and just wiping down the lampshade or anything like that. I'm gonna put me on the doorknob. That's never something that a woman, maybe if there was a mental institution or something like that. But that's just something that us fucking idiot dudes would do.
I remember the biggest pee I ever took, and I also remember one of the biggest continuous turds I ever took. The biggest pee I ever took was when I went to go see the movie The Abyss. Do you remember that?
Yes, I never saw it, but
I saw it in the theater, and it was a very long movie. It was like 3 hours plus, and I had to pee. I must have had to pee going in. I don't know, but when I was done, this isn't that good of a story, so I'm going to rush through it. But when I was done, I never had to pee that bad in my life. And it was a movie about water,
That can't help.
And I stood there at the urinal and just, it must have taken forever. And then the longest pee I've ever took happened at a place where I also punched a girl in the face.
Oh, nice.
And we'll end the show with that.
Equality.
Yeah. So real quickly, I just remember I happened to have taken a dump there, and it looked like, that when you buy a rubber snake, like it coiled up. I mean, just coiled, unbroken.
Yes.
And I swear, if you stretch this thing out, it had to be close to 3 feet long.
Wow.
And it was just a long, continuous. I wish that we had cell phone cameras back then.
Yeah, I think my best trophy dump would have been one that, actually it looked like it was trying to sneak back out of the water.
Yeah. Oh,
it was a big giant
Yep.
cursive C, and it was just poking out. I went, I'd never seen it actually stay out of the water.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's,
Remember Randy on South Park when he was pooping? And I think his turd turned into Bono or something.
I remember there was one where he actually got lifted off of the toilet. Yeah.
Real quick, there was this girl in middle school. I knew her in middle school. Mm-hmm. I don't think she followed me over to high school. I'm just going to say her first name was Anne. Mm-hmm. And she liked me a lot. And I didn't want to. She was not. Oh my God! Look at the rain.
Oh yeah.
She wasn't one of the cool kids. She wasn't that attractive. Mm-hmm. Now looking back, considering the lack of action that I got back in the days, I was stupid for not hooking up with this girl.
No, it's
hooking up. Now, what do I mean by hooking up?
Yes. That's weird, wild stuff.
But so she had sort of had a crush on me all through middle school. Mm-hmm. And I always just sort of ignored her, or I never was really receptive to her. And we went skating. Went to the same place, same place that I left the monster turd, roller skating back in the 80s, I guess it was. And she was there. Me and my buddy, Steve, went to the roller skating rink, and she was there, and she was kind of annoying. She was bothering me, and she walked up behind me and snuck up behind me, put a handkerchief around my eyes, covered my eyes, and leaned forward and kissed me on the cheek.
Oh, that's when you turned around and punched her in the face.
I turned around and I punched her in the face. Oh my God. And then here's the funny thing. I immediately felt bad about it.
Yes.
But then years later, I looked her up somehow. I don't know how I got her number, and I called her to apologize because it had been bothering me for years.
Right.
And and I know it was her, but she pretended that she didn't remember me. But I mean, she had a very unique name. Mm-hmm. It's pretty sure it sounded like her. Mm-hmm. It was her. I guarantee it was her. But it was just she just didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to accept the apology or whatever. She just kept pretending it wasn't her. And I said, look, whether you want to admit to it was you or not, I want to apologize. I was a dick. I can't believe I did that.
No.
It's been bothering me for years. I've never even hit a girl before.
I can't force you to accept the apology. All I can do is give it.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. I'm trying to come at this from a good place. And
I was an idiot. God, I was probably 14, maybe 15 when I did that. And give it to me. If you want to give it to me in the comments, I know. That was the worst thing in the world.
No, but it's just an instinctive reaction and everything like that.
Overreaction.
Yeah. But at the time, it was just,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that adrenaline often doesn't allow for reason to be introduced.
And I was a little embarrassed because I was with my friend, and he knew that I didn't like her, and nobody really liked her. And God, if I could go back in time, I would have hooked up with her. Yeah. She wasn't that bad. I was just being an idiot back then. Mm-hmm. God,
I can do better.
Anyway, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, just back to the Instagram, the Tree 13.
You're most active on TikTok.
If I'm happy with what I put out on TikTok, then I will repost it and try to get some views on Reels, and then I'll try to link things to both Instagram and Facebook, but there's some times where I just go, nah, this is only for the Instagram crowd. But yeah, I just try to, if I can stitch something funny that kind of makes me laugh or whatever, then I'll try to do that. But
All right, check Greg out there. Lots of very funny videos. And you do some reaction videos too, right?
I do some reaction videos. Sometimes I make fun of, whatever I think is funny.
Impersonations.
Yeah.
And Greg, you got to do me a favor. I don't know if you did this or not, but when all this is posted, you need to share it.
Yes. I need to
Share it.
get a little bit more. Yeah.
Share it
I got you.
everywhere. I try to share it everywhere.
I got you.
So, I also run this podcast, which is kind of new. We're just getting started out. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do. I don't want to nag you too much on that. But there is a DJ. I hope you're not reading this backwards. There is a convention coming up, a horror convention. It's called the Haunted Screams Expo. It happens every year at the Hampton Roads Convention Center. If you guys could come out, I'll be there. Signing autographs, doing selfies, whatever. I don't want a lot of paparazzi there or anything. But
let's keep it to a minimum, please.
September 16th and 17th at the Hampton Roads Convention Center, and there's a lot of big stars going to be there. A lot of B movie stars, I guess you could call them. Some of them are A, but there's the person who played Jason in Nightmare on Elm, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, yeah.
Part 6, I think it is. Let's see, who else? Somebody who played Leatherface, maybe. I'm not sure. It might be the Netflix Leatherface. He's going to be there. The guy who played Predator in the new Prey movie, the newest Predator movie, which is actually really good. The Predator movies were really starting to suck there. And the guy who plays Dr. Satan, if you're a fan of the original House of a Thousand Corpses, directed by Rob Zombie. Let's see, his name is Walter Felon. He's going to be there. And then somebody from the movie, I don't know. Do you know what movie that is? I don't know. But there's a lot of, and then they're always adding people to the venue. But check that out. You can look them up on social media. I'll be there playing music and doing probably a couple of interviews, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And be sure to follow Digital DJs of Hampton Roads on Instagram. And that's about it. We'll probably try to do another episode the next maybe 2 weeks or so if you want.
Okay.
If you've got more stories,
all right.
come up with some
dude,
stuff.
I always just.
And if you want to bring your son in,
okay,
we can maybe set it up for a time where he can come in too.
If it's is there a third mic capacity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, because like I said, I haven't.
Another pair of headphones right over there.
Okay.
Yep.
So that might be something that we do, and then I'll try to. I'm trying to get better about just letting my boys answer whenever people are trying to ask about them, as opposed to me doing it on their behalf. So
yeah, for sure.
Because they've got their own way of thinking in their own voice and stuff. So I'm, trying to encourage them to be creative.
How old are they? You two boys?
Yeah, I've got two boys. They're 19 and 15, and they're getting ready to both hit their birthday. One's in July and one's in August. So.
And you want to get the 19-year-old in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's the one that's a lot more outgoing, a lot more just, he's not reserved, and some people are like, wait, why would you expose him to I want him to be exposed to every single thing that he can be exposed, and that way he can kind of discern for himself the shit that he wants to,
I don't think
gravitate
he should be
towards.
Exposed to that guy who laid on the table.
No.
That guy's probably exposes himself enough.
There are limits, but he shares with me some of the stuff that he has to deal with at his jobs, and then whenever he's away at college and stuff. And
I love work stories. Work stories are the best.
Yeah. So it's. Yeah, we'll have to do it in a couple weeks, and we'll get some off mic. We'll do some scheduling and all that kind of good stuff. So,
all right.
I appreciate you having me back in here, dude. I'm glad.
Yes, I'm glad we got some power in here today. What we had the first time was kind of like a soft open, if you would say something like that.
Yeah, running on a generator. We'll never forget that our first podcast together was done on a gasoline-powered generator.
Yeah, the sucks.
All right, guys. Thanks again for listening to the Clover Street Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
All right. Good episode.
Very cool.